theyeshiva.net.
I'm sorry. Give me your stuff.
No, this one.
Okay, so the point was this. Abaya asked Rava, and if mitzvah says is kavanah, right? So that means that if somebody sleeps Shmini Atzeres in a sukkah, even without kavanah to do the mitzvah, he should be transgressing the Isser of Baal Tosif and receive Malchus because you don't need kavanah. So Rava responded and said that that's not a question. The reason it's not a question is because Baal Tosif you can only transgress if it's in the time of the mitzvah. The time that you're obligated to do the mitzvah, then you could say you add it to the mitzvah because it's the time of the mitzvah. If it's not the time of the mitzvah, it's not called adding to the mitzvah. Therefore, the day after Sukkot, even if you sleep in a sukkah intentionally to fulfill the mitzvah of sukkah, it's irrelevant. It's not a gather of Baal Tosif. That's what the Rava answered to Abaya. So Rav Shemin asked why by Birchas Koyanim is there Baal Tosif when the Koyan already finished his Birchas Koyanim, he did the mitzvah, why is there Baal Tosif? The mitzvah is all. So the answer Rava gave was, you can't compare. Over there, the mitzvah continues all day. It's still the time of the mitzvah. Baharaya, if there was another minyan, the Kohen would bless them again with Hashem's name, with a bracha. It's not like you say, okay, don't make a bracha anymore, you did the mitzvah. In other words, the mitzvah is still applicable. This answers Rav Shemin's question. So Rav is right. Birchas Koyanim is not a contradiction. You could say Birchas Koyanim is very, very different than Shmini Atzeres when Sukkot is over. The Gemarah now wanted to prove this logic of Rava from a Mishnah. But the Mishnah tells us that Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua argued about blood being mixed together from different types of karbonos. Some needed one application on the Mizbeach, and some needed a double application on the Mizbeach. And it's mixed together, so now you're stuck. If karbonos that have the same amount of application on the Mizbeach are mixed, I don't have a problem, because it's mixed, so you just do one application or two applications, and you do it for both. But here, different types of karbonos that have different halachas of applications. Carbon shlamim with a carbon chayr get mixed, for example. Now you have a big problem. So Rabbi Lezer said, you do 4 applications, which is really 2 applications that become 4 because it's on 2 angles. And Rabbi Yeshua says 1 application. And I should just add an important ha'ari in Tosif. Take a look. Matan arba b'matan achas. See, it's 1, 2, 3. One of the last places on the page. Matan arba b'matan achas. Because dam chayr shel matan achas b'dam oilo shlamim shein shtei matanos shein arba. The blood of a carbon chayr gets mixed with the blood of an oilo or shlamim. The blood of a chayr, you do 1 application. The blood of oilo and shlamim, you do 2 applications, which are 4. In the corner of Mizrachis Tzloimis and Droimis Ma'aravis, east, north, and Droimis Ma'aravis, southwest. But Tosif says, what about V'loi b'dam chatos? It wouldn't work if it got mixed with the blood of a chatos. Shein arba matanas b'dalet kronos. Because over there are 4 applications in the 4 corners, and the problem is Bahula Mailu Mechut HaSikra Bahani Lamata. All the other karbonis, you sprinkle the blood, Lamata Mechut HaSikra. It was like an imaginary point, right? Half point in the Mizbeach. Mechut HaSikra means a red streak. There's l'mayla mechut hasikra and l'mata mechut hasikra. And halachically, the chatas has to be on the corners. That means it's on the top. The other karbonis is l'mata mechut hasikra. So there you have a whole different issue that here you don't have. With these karbonis, the problem is how many applications, but not where. So Rabbi Yeshua says you do one and you're yotzei. Rabbi Lezer says you do 4 and you didn't lose anything. You got 1 plus 3, you're good. 1 plus 2, which is 4. But by chatas, he says it wouldn't work. Because chatas is l'mayla b'chut hasikra, and therefore what are you going to do? If you do it l'mata b'chut hasikra, you didn't do the chatas. Right? So therefore you have a serious problem. So Tosif said this wouldn't work with carbon chatas, just a hard. So Rabbi Lezer says you do 4, 2, Rabbi Yeshua says you do 1. Rabbi Lezer's complaint is it's Bal Tigra if you only do 1. Rabbi Yeshua's complaint is if you do 2, it's Bal Tosif. Each one defends themselves. That it's not Bal Tosif. Rabbi Lezer says it's not Bal Tosif because I'm not doing it independently. I'm not taking the dam chayr and making 2 applications. I'm only doing the second application because of the oil. Rabbi Yeshua says it's not Bal Tigra because I'm not subtracting from 2 with an oil. I'm subtracting from 2 because I have a carbon chayr over there. Bal Tigra is only kshul ba'atzmai. The only reason Bal Tigra is if it's independently, but here it's mixed with something else, that what? That deserves to get 1 application. And Rabbi Yeshua, therefore, says it's not a problem of Bal Tigra, plus he adds, even if it was, my option is much better than your option, because even if I am transgressing, at least I'm doing it through passivity, not through activity. I am not doing what you're supposed to do. I'm doing 1 instead of 2. You are doing 2 instead of 1. In other words, you're actively violating. Bal Tosif is active, Bal Tigra is passive. I didn't do enough. You did more than enough. In other words, your mirida, your aveda is a maisa. It's not sheva al tas. It's not a passive thing. Tosfos is ha'arim. Take a look at Tosfos. Lo nemar Bal Tosif elik shuba atzmai. The Belezer says it's not a Bal Tosif because Bal Tosif is only when you're doing it on its own. So the Belezer says, so why not do the full mitzvah? In other words, it's true you're yotzei with 1 application with the Yevin. But why not do the full mitzvah when you don't have a problem with Bal Tosif? Because Bal Tosif you're not going to be over. Because Bal Tosif you're only over if you do it the dam chayr. But here you're doing it because of the oil. So why not do the full mitzvah? Rabbi Yeshua says, Lo nemar Bal Tigra elik shu ba'atzma v'hilchach kivan di yotzei be'echad lama niskikenu litin arba. So Rabbi Yeshua, what's Rabbi Yeshua's taina? Bal Tigra is not a problem. And you're yotzei with 1. So why force him to do 4? Why force him to do 2, which is arba? What's Rabbi Yeshua's taina? You're yotzei anyway with 1, right? Bal Tigra, you don't have a problem. If Bal Tigra, you don't have a problem, and you're yotzei with 1, and you don't know which carbon it is, do 1. So now you'll ask me a question, why not do better option? V'oid tfei adiv be'echad ba'arba k'mayshem mefarish. But Rabbi Yeshua says it's even better 1 than 4. It's not like I'm just looking for an easier option. Because here, I may be over through passivity, and there through activity. I'll call upon him, what do we see from this whole Mishnah?
But you'd say if you did a comment.
Yes,
with
1, but the Yotzei. But the Belezer Tainas do the full mitzvah. Now, what do we see from here after everything's said and done? What does this Mishnah prove to us? That there is Bal Tosif. Everybody is moided that there's Bal Tosif. Say Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Yeshua holds his Bal Tosif even if it's mixed. Rabbi Lezer says there's Bal Tosif at least if it's independent. But everybody is moided it's Bal Tosif. Once you did 1 application for the B'chor, the mitzvah is done. Everything else is an extracurricular activity after the mitzvah. Why would there be Bal Tosif? Let's say you wait a half an hour by a b'chayr and you add another application. It's irrelevant. The time of the mitzvah is over. You did the mitzvah.
No, but it's different. This is the Mikdash. The Mikdash, you can do whatever you want. Blowing the shofar on Purim, okay, who cares? It's like avodat chol, isn't it?
You don't do whatever you want, but we're asking why you're even on Bal Tosif. This aveda of Bal Tosif, that you were moisef on the mitzvah when the zman mitzvah is over. L'chayra, once you did 1 matan in the lashon of the Gemarah, over a leil zmane, the time has passed. What do we want to prove from this? No one has a problem with this Mishnah. Since if the Kayyim would have had another b'chayr, somebody else would come with a b'chayr. he would sprinkle again. In other words, the Zman of the mitzvah didn't end. The whole day is the Zman of the mitzvah. True, this B'chayr is over. This he's done with. But it's still the Zman of another B'chayr. So therefore there's a concept of Bal Tosif. Why? Because the Zman of the mitzvah of being Makro B'chayr is not over. Even though this one is over, but it's still Shayach to the time, and you'll be able to do another B'chayr. So it's completely different than Sukkot. Sukkot, it comes Shmini Atzeres. Say a person didn't sleep in a sukkah for 7 days, or didn't eat in a sukkah for 7 days, you don't say, oh, let me do it Shmini Atzeres. There's nothing to do. It's like being mashlim shofar Rosh Hashanah on sukkahs. Thank you. It's like eating matzah on Lag Ba'im instead of Pesach. There's nothing to do. It's over. Here, if I wasn't makriv my b'char 6 o'clock in the morning, I could do it 8 o'clock in the morning, right? It's not like, oh, it's over, it's over. In other words, it's always this man of b'char, so you can't say it's really over. What makes it over? It's not really over. In this man, it's still, the inyan of b'char is still shayach. So therefore, if you add blood from this carbon 2 hours later, you will over on Bal Tosif to the mitzvah. That's how you have to learn pshat in the Mishnah. In other words, this demonstrates the svara that we said by Birchas Kayanim, that even though the Kayan did the mitzvah, there's Bal Tosif, because the whole day belongs to Birchas Kayanim. Even though the Kayan did his mitzvah, that's true. So therefore, if he adds Yosef Hashem Aleichem Kachem Elef Pamim or any other pasuk after Yivarechecha Yoir, Yoir and Yisa Hashem V'Yasem L'Chashalom, and he adds another pasuk even after he's done, you don't say it's not Bal Tosif, it's still Bal Tosif. So therefore, Rav's svara is being maintained. Zog the Gemarah, Mimai, I'm sorry. You could say that's pshat, emes. You could say that's pshat. I'm not telling you this is a contradiction to Rav, but don't bring a raya from here to Rav. The Gemarah started this whole discussion, minot teimra. How do you know Rav is right, that there's no Bal Tosif when this man is over? Don't bring a raya from this Mishnah. You're right, I can't refute Rav from the Mishnah, but there's a difference between not refuting somebody and proving it. That's already much more extreme. Umimai. How do you know you're over on Bal Tosif because the whole day is this man? That's the pshat. And hence Birchas Kayanim too, and hence Shmini Atzeres not. Dilmika Sabar Rabbi Yeshua, mitzvahs over alein afilu shaloi bizman. Maybe Rabbi Yeshua holds differently. Maybe Rabbi Yeshua holds that mitzvahs you're over on Bal Tosif even shaloi bizmanon, even not in the time of the mitzvah. Ta'akeloit Rava, you have no choice but to say this, because Rava holds you're not over on Bal Tosif only bizmanoi. So Rava has to make a pilpul and say b'chor is still zmanoi. But you don't know that that's pshat Rabbi Yeshua, right? There's no raya from the Mishnah. I could say that Rabbi Yeshua Taka has a different opinion. You could learn pshat in the Mishnah both ways. You could learn he holds you're over on Bal Tosif even a day later, even a week later, even a month later. Shmini Atzeres you would be over on Bal Tosif. You could say that. How do you know? So let's see how the Gemarah is addressing here the Mahalach. Abaya asked if mitzvah ain't tzrichas kavana, you should be over on Bal Tosif without kavana. Even if you don't want to do the mitzvah. If you sleep in a sukkah Shmini Atzeres, you should receive lashes. That was step 1. So Rava answered, there's no Bal Tosif only in the time of the mitzvah. Step 2. Step 3, Reb Shemen asked a question from Birchas Kayanim where there is Bal Tosif after the Zman mitzvah. Step 4, the Gemarah answered that Birchas Kayanim, since if there would be another minyan, the Kayan would bench again, it's still Zman mitzvah. Step 5, the Gemarah brought a raya to this svara from the Mishnah in Zvachim, where you can also ask a question on Rava, and there also you have to answer that since if there would be another b'chor, he would sprinkle from its blood on the mizbeach, so it's considered that the Zman mitzvah didn't pass. Step 6, the Gemarah says, from this Mishnah there's no raya. Why? How do we know that this Mishnah means like Rava said? And therefore, from this Mishnah we can answer both questions, the question of Birchas Kayanim and the question of Zvachim. Maybe this Braisa and the Mishnah is taken not like Rava, and you're over on Bal Tosif after the Zman mitzvah. You take over after the Zman mitzvah. I know Rava is defending himself, true, but lav davka, that's pshat. You can't bring a raya from the Mishnah. The Mishnah doesn't say this. The Mishnah says you're over on Bal Tosif. Why? I can tell you 2 reasons. One is because it's Zman mitzvah. One is because you don't need Zman mitzvah. How do you know what's pshat in the Mishnah? Don't bring a raya to Rava, you understand?
It's like this,
Rava is saying the pshat that works for him. But you can't, the Mishnah doesn't say that. The Mishnah says you're over on Baal Tosif. Why? Either you could say because it's Zman HaMitzvah, because you could bring another B'chayr, or you could say, because Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua hold, you don't need Zman HaMitzvah. So don't bring a raya to Rava. Just say that it works with Rava. Rava doesn't have to have Charota. But it's a svara of Rava, it's not a svara of the Mishnah. That's what the Gemarah is saying. Don't bring me a raya from the Mishnah. The Mishnah you can teach both ways. You can teach the Mishnah like Abaya. You could say you're over even Shalai Bizmanai Baal Tosif. Just like Abaya thought L'chatchila, you're over Shalai Baal Tosif.
Tosif is not the Bavon's, not eating in the Sukkah, Shminat Seres. It's not as it.
Yeah, so Tosif says, Dilma Kasabi Rabbi Yeshua.
So you know that that's coming after Maskon.
Yeah, no, we'll see. Dilma Kasavi Rabbi Yeshua Mitzvah Sever Alem Shalei Bizmanon V'Hayashim B'Shmini B'Sukkah Yilkel Rabbi Yeshua. Take he would hold you get Malchus. You know why? Because it's Shalei Bizmanei, but it's Baal Tosif. U'B'Shmini Safek Shvi Lo Yosef, and therefore we're not allowed to sit in a sukkah in Chutz La'aretz Shmini Atzeres because it's Safek Shvi. When the times when it was a Safek Shvi, it may have been the seventh day. Today, actually, it's not a Safek Shvi anymore. Today, we know for sure it's not Shvi. When they thought it was a Safek Shvi, so they're sitting. Why? Because it may be Shvi, but it may also be Shmini. And if it may be Shmini, and by us we know for sure it's Shmini, so it's much worse. Lo Yosef, don't sit, because it's Mamish Baal Tosif. Ayis Shaloi Bizmanai, this is Baal Tosif Shaloi Bizmanai. Umi Uloi Kama Maskana Hach. He just says he doesn't want people should quit Sukkah Shmini Atzeres. He says it's not the Maskana. We'll soon see the Maskana. But the point is, that would be the Pshat according to Rabbi Yeshua. You can also say a little different, even though the Gemarah doesn't say it, that perhaps Rabbi Yeshua also holds Mitzvah Tzrichas Kavana. If Rabbi Yeshua would hold Mitzvah Tzrichas Kavana, then you could sleep in a Sukkah on Shmini Atzeres, just without Kavana. Not with it.
Without Kavana or Kavana Fakir?
No, Hepech Kavana, most Rishonim hold that everyone holds that you don't do the mitzvah. In other words, if you eat matzah and you have kavanah, I don't want to observe the mitzvah of matzah. There are Rishonim who hold that you would still be yotzeh ad kedei kach, because kavanah, it's like kavanah doesn't exist. We don't care. But most Rishonim hold that everybody is moed, that if you the kavanah hafchis, you're not yotzeh. Right, koifenais. When the Persians are forcing this poor guy to eat matzah, right? It's like, okay, you want to dafka not be yotzeh the mitzvah of matzah? I mean, that's a psa amidah gdoila. But let's say you don't have stam kavana, you're sleeping in the sukkah shmini atzeres, but it's not l'shem mitzvah sukkah, it's the 8th day. If you say mitzvah tzrichas kavana, you're over on Baal Tosif. That's what Rabbi said. If you say mitzvah tzrichas kavana, you're not only have kavana for mitzvah sukkah, it's fine. So that would be another way of saying Rabbi Yeshua would allow you to sleep in the sukkah, even though there's Baal Tosif, because he holds mitzvah tzrichas kavana. Zog the Gemarah weiter. Anan hachi kamrina. You didn't understand our proof. We didn't try to say something that you just refuted, that the Mishnah proves Rava that you're not over on Baal Tosif Shaloi Bizmani. This is what we meant. Reb Shemen bar Rabba, my time is shavik masnisin or moisev mebraisa, lusiv me masnisin. Whenever you can ask a question from a Mishnah or a Braisa, you always go to a Mishnah. A Mishnah is more authoritative than a Braisa. Why did Reb Shemen bar Rabba abandon the Mishnah and refute Rava from a Braisa? He should have asked him from the Mishnah. He went to Birchas Koyanim, which is a Braisa. Why not go to this Mishnah in Zvachim with the blood, which is a Mishnah? It's a much stronger proof against Rava. The answer is, Masnisin my time eloi moisiv. Why? Because Kivan the Ilum Isram eloi Buchra Cherina. Because if the Kohen would find another Bchar, by Buchrachne, by Mazamine, he would have to sprinkle the blood from this other Bchar. That means Kula Yoyma Zimnehu, the entire day is the Zman of the Mitzvah. So you can't have a question from the Mishnah. Reb Shemen himself understood that. There's no question to Rav. So if so, Braisa Nami Kivon the Imis Ramet Zibura Acharino Hadam Avarach Kula Yoyma Zimne. This itself challenges the question from the Braisa of Birchas Koyanim, because it's the same thing. Now, Reb Shemen bar Rabba, look at you. You yourself ignored the Mishnah and went to a Braisa of Birchas Koyanim. You know why? You know why? Because the Mishnah is not a real question. Because the Mishnah, you could say, it's not like Shmini Atzeres, it's Manoi. But if so, you pulled the rug from under your own question. Because Birchas Koyanim is the same thing. There would be another tzibur, another minion. The Kohen would have to do Birchas Koyanim again. In other words, the whole day is the man of Birchas Koyanim. So there's Baal Tosif. So now we're stuck with Reb Shemin. Now what was he thinking? That was my point. My point was not to bring a raya from the Mishnah to Rava. I know that the Mishnah could be reinterpreted not like Rava. You could say Rabbi Yeshua holds your Oven on Bal Tosif Shaloi Bismanai or Mitzvah Strichas Kavona. Tosif says the first way. He holds it to Bal Tosif Shaloi Bismanai. My point was, from the Mishnah, I'm bringing a raya that Reb Shemin's Bar Abba's refutation is wrong. Why? You yourself could have brought the Mishnah Reb Shemin. Remember, we're assuming Reb Shemin asks a question, or Amoida asks a question. He knows all the brises, he also knows all the Mishnahs. Another person, you say, why didn't he bring the Mishnah? It's vergessen. He forgot. It's not such a strong question. He forgot. But Amirayim, every Mishnah, he couldn't be. You had to know every Mishnah like the 5 fingers of your hand, you had to know. So if he brought a bris and not a Mishnah, why would he? Bris, a Mishnah is much better. Mishnah is considered a much higher level of authority. That means he felt that the Mishnah wouldn't work. But for the same reason, the Brisa doesn't work. That was our point. So the Gemarah of Reb Shemin bar Abba knew what was the Taka thinking. He said like this: Hasam over there, loy sagi de loy yahiv. It won't be good if he doesn't give. Meaning, the kohen can't get out of it. A guy comes with a b'chayr, the kohen can't say, "Oh, I'm busy today. Have a good day." He has to do it. He's mechuyev. So it's clear that his man hamitzvah wasn't over. He's mamish mechuyev to do another b'chayr if a yid comes with a b'chayr. Hache here, iboyim mevarich, iboyim mevarich. Once a kohen does birchas kohenim, another minion comes. If he wants, he could make birchas kohenim. If not, not. He could do it and make a bracha again, but he can also not, because he was already yotzi yedei chivasai. In other words, a kohen who's oila l'duchen once a day doesn't have to duchen a second time a day, because the mitzvah is once a day. A yid puts on tefillin once, you could put on tefillin a whole day. You could put on tefillin again and again and again. But you were yotzi the mitzvah of tefillin, at least according to many shittas, not according to everybody. But Beichas Kayanim, it's once a day you did the mitzvah. Since you did the mitzvah once a day, so therefore you're done. You could go home. If you want, you could do it again with a bruch. Kayanim could duchen 20 times a day for different minyanim. But it's not like B'chor. So therefore Reb Shemin bar Abba felt that from B'chor Taki has no raya, because over there there's no there's Bal Tosif, because the mitzvah continues. But Beichas Kayanim, his svara was, since he can go home and not do duchening anymore, so that means this man ha-mitzvah is gone. So therefore from there is a raya that there's Bal Tosif. Nonetheless, Rava said that's also not like Shmini Atzeres, because fart, there's a possibility to do the mitzvah during the day. Shmini Atzeres, you can't do the mitzvah of Sukkah. That's a clap and cup behind Bismargen. You can't do the mitzvah of Sukkah. It's completely not as man mitzvah. Yes.
Once we had a minion and we didn't have a Kohen.
Yeah.
And we walked outside to see, and they still actually a Kohen walking there. We didn't know the Kohen, and he refused to come and look. Now, then somebody said something in Shulchan Aruch. The Kohen refuses to do it. There's something wrong with him, you know.
This was the first time, or
no,
he did it already?
We had that already. So I just want to clarify, you know, if he refuses to come, they ask him. Then he sort of say, okay, we were all very upset. Why couldn't you come? It says something in the Shulchan Aruch about it, but I don't know exactly how it's.
Actually, in Shulchan Aruch, in Hilchas Birchas Kayanim, Siman Kuf Chav Ches, it says clearly like this: a Kayan who did Birchas Kayanim once, he's not mechuyev to do it again. So there's an interesting machlaikas that's brought in Achronim that are these two shittas. What's the machlaikas? It's a very interesting argument. Torah says there's a lot of mitzvahs that have a time. What's pshat? Is it pshat that the chiyuv is then, or pshat is the chiyuv is a whole year to do the mitzvah then? An example. Today is Chavdalad Tammuz, right? Am I mechuyev today to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah?
No.
Listen to my question. I didn't ask if I'm mechuyev to blow shofar today. I asked if I'm mechuyev today to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
Yes or no? You could learn two ways. You could learn Rosh Hashanah, there's an obligation on me to blow shofar. Right? Rosh Hashanah. A few weeks before Yom Tov, Moshe Rabbeinu said you should learn the Yanim of Yom Tov, you should prepare for Yom Tov. So the obligation extends a little further. You can't have a shofar Rosh Hashanah if you don't buy it at Rosh Hashanah. Or you could say, no, a whole year I'm mechuyev in the whole Torah in different times. Today I'm also mechuyev to blow shofar Rosh Hashanah. It's not a chiyuv on Rosh Hashanah, it's a chiyuv 365 days a year. A yid is always mechuyev to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. He's always mechuyev to light candles on Hanukkah. He's always mechuyev to eat matzah on Pesach. It's not a chiyuv that starts on Pesach. The time of the chiyuv is on Pesach. Huh?
In the Zman, it's not the Zman, but
right.
in the
person.
In the
person.
nefesh part, it's always there.
Would be enough commitment.
Huh?
Any other enough commitment?
L'may nafkamina? Yeah. If you have to worry about it. Yeah, I'll give you a pashta nafkamina. Pashat. I'll give you 2 nafkaminas. I'm traveling Hanukkah to Africa to check out the animals because I'm a scientist, okay? I know there's not, and I'm going to be there for a whole year. I know that there's not going to be a shofar on Rosh Hashanah there. How am I going to find the shofar? I mean, probably over there I could find the shofar. But I'm going to a place on Hanukkah. I know there's not going to be a shofar Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah comes, there's no shofar. Was I mevatel a mitzvah's essay or not? Or you say, I was an onus. Somebody's in a hospital, right? Gets lost. It's an onus. Or you will mevatel a mitzvah's essay. The answer is, he is an onus. When Rosh Hashanah came, he was in Africa. He has no shofar.
30 days before.
Not 30, but he left Hanukkah. I said he left.
30 days before, he has the option to leave Africa and come back. It's not like he's stuck there.
He knew ahead he's going to be away the whole year.
Let's say then he gets stuck. So you'll say, oh, Groise Chachem, when you left, you had to worry about a shofar. He says, why do I have to worry? It's Hanukkah. I don't have to worry about a shofar. What do you mean? Hashem says shofar. He says it Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, 30 days before the Hashanah, I have to worry. I don't have to worry. Or you say, no, Hanukkah, you're mechuyev in shofar. You have to think Hanukkah about Rosh Hashanah. You're mechuyev Hanukkah also. You get what I'm saying? I'll give you another example. Tzom Gedalia, you want to fast. The doctor says you're too weak to fast 2 days. Either you fast Tzom Gedalia or you fast Yom Kippur. If you want to fast Yom Kippur, you have to eat Tzom Gedalia. If you eat Tzom Gedalia, you can fast Yom Kippur. If you fast Tzom Gedalia, there's no fasting Yom Kippur. Now here's the question. Everyone knows you can't compare Yom Kippur to Tzom Gedalia. Tzom Gedalia is a tainus with divrei Kabbalah from the Nevi'im. Yom Kippur is a tainus min HaTorah. It's a much more serious tainus. Tzom Gedalia there's a lot of leniencies. Yom Kippur does not. What do? Right now it's Tzom Gedalia. I could fast today. Shulchan Aruch says I'm supposed to fast. But the doctor told me that if I fast today, Yom Kippur I'm eating. Or I eat today, but then Yom Kippur I fast. What do? You could look at it in 2 ways. One way is, it's Tzom Gedalia. The halacha says you're supposed to fast. Why are you eating? The doctor said you could fast today. Why are you eating? Fast. Yom Kippur is going to come, you're going to have to eat. Okay, I'll worry about it then. I have to eat. The doctor says eat. Or you say, no. Right now you have to think about Yom Kippur. Right now you have a chiyuv Yom Kippur. And you know that by doing this, you are causing yourself not to fast. Tzom Gedalia has to go for Yom Kippur.
That's different because you know for sure if you're going to eat now, you're going to be the one causing.
Sure, there's no such thing.
No, because the doctor said.
Zolzain I know for sure. Now it's Tzom Gedalia. It's not Yom
Your
Kippur.
action now by not eating is going to make you eat your Kippur. That's different.
My action now. Yeah, I
You're
know.
going to cause it.
I
It's
know.
not like I'm not bringing a shofar.
Okay, so you're saying you're doing a maisa. Fine, but the concept, you understand? The chiyuv is the same concept.
What did the local rabbi answer?
Huh?
What did the local rabbi
It's a good question, no? It's an interesting question.
There must be
Do you have to think about Yom Kippur now?
Isn't it a certain balance? I mean, there's no right or wrong with it. They're both right.
It depends on the schira. He wanted a nafkamin. I gave him 2 nafkaminas.
I think
Besides
it's
Pesach.
going to be sometimes we're going to say, I think, sometimes we'll say to look into the future, and sometimes we'll say, no, you got to live for today. If you're always looking for the future, a smoker, I smoke. So am I killing myself today? No, I'm going to die then. I'm not killing myself today, but I am killing myself today because, that's it.
No, you're wrong.
Why?
Because you're killing yourself already by eating Tzom Gedalia.
Why? No, if I
It's an Isser.
But I could fast this fast. I'm not going to be able to fast Yom Kippur.
Oh, right.
So you're going to say I am killing myself today because Lamaisa, you're not going to be able to do it then. So it's a balance of life. There's no right and wrong over here. Is there a right and wrong whether to only think for today and not think for tomorrow?
Another shaila, okay? A cotton a day before his bar mitzvah is not mechuyev in mitzvahs. Yeah? He says, I don't have to buy tefillin today. I'm not mechuyev in mitzvahs. You have to buy tefillin. I don't have to buy tefillin. I'm 12 years old. I don't have to buy tzitzis. I don't have to do anything. Now his bar mitzvah comes. Where you tefillin? Oh, I never bought tefillin. Oh, you have to buy tefillin. It's going to take 6 months. Why didn't you order 6 months ago? I wasn't mechuyev in mitzvahs. No, is he right or wrong?
It's a person Neila than the concept of Ein Davar Shabbat Adam.
Huh?
If you use common sense, the person who's traveling to Africa for a year, he has to consider the possibility.
Does he?
Sure, I should bring one.
I understand it's the right thing to do. No one is arguing it's the right thing to do. I'm asking.
In terms of fasting there.
Anyway, you know why I'm bringing this out?
Prove that Allah.
This is the Negeya Bal Tosif. What's the two svaras if you're over on Bal Tosif, Shaloi Bizman, or you're not Bizmana? If I sleep in a sukkah on Shmini Atzeres, there's two svaras. I was over, I wasn't over. Right? If I do it after the Zman HaMitzvah, what are the two svaras? L'chayra, these are the svaras. If you say that a whole year you're mechuyev in mitzvahs, so it's always Zman HaMitzvah. It's not Zman HaMitzvah in the sense of you have to do the mitzvah. But it's still, the concept of the mitzvah applies 365 days a year. So then l'cha'ira, there's a svara to say, right, that you're over. You're over on Bal Tosif. Why you're over on Bal Tosif? Because even if it's not Zman HaMitzvah, you're right, it's not Zman HaMitzvah. It's Shmini Atzeres. But a whole year there's the concept of this mitzvah.
But not, you don't have the whole year to come do it that day.
That's true, I know
You
that.
won't be able to either. Why would you do it?
I'm explaining what would be the svara that you're over Bal Tosif Shaloi Bizman HaMitzvah. It's not the Zman HaMitzvah. What's the Bal Tosif? Like the Gemarah said, Rabbi Yeshua. What would be the svara? You sleep in a sukkah on Chanukah and you're over on Bal Tosif. When? The answer is because the concept of sukkah is even Chanukah. Or you say no, the Zman of the mitzvah is the Zman of the mitzvah. It doesn't have to do with the whole year. So therefore, the whole mitzvah is not shaykh any other time of the year. So it's not Bal Tosif. It's tam a game you're playing. So these are the two svaras.
But this won't be the same as putting on tefillin at night. Or it would.
No, tefillin at night is you're not supposed to put on tefillin at night.
It won't be over. About it. Well, let's say
It's not the Zman HaMitzvah. It's not the Zman HaMitzvah. But faket, it's an issur to put on tefillin at night. It's an
For
issur.
its own.
Yeah, v'shamarta sachuka l'moedim miyamim yamima. It's an issur to put on tefillin at night. Right, it's a separate issur. You're not allowed to put on tefillin at night. You're not supposed to put on tefillin Shabbos and Yom Tov. Yeah, but that's not Bal Tosif. It's not because you're adding to tefillin. It's not because you're adding to tefillin.
The way I look at it is a general commitment to all Malchus tonight.
Oh,
And then in each situation,
Zog's gut.
you have to apply
Zog's gut.
how it should work out.
Zog's gut. A Jew is an Eved Hashem. He belongs to God. And every day he says, what do you want today? Shayfer. In other words, a whole year I'm a chuyev and everything. It's not this or that, right? It's a commitment to you. The question is there a chiyuv on the mitzvah pratis? There's a chiyuv of Kabbalah Malchus Shamayim, yeah.
It cannot be a chiyuv in an individual mitzvah when the time is not there.
Why not?
Preparation.
You know it's going to come.
You can't walk around with all the possibilities.
You don't have to walk around with it. You could sit with it.
You can't sit with the whole world on your shoulders. What about this one?
So that Shammai bought already someday for Shabbos.
Right, in Beitza, Rabbi Shammai used to buy this. There's an interesting question that the Shut Chacham Tzvi brings. It's a very sad story, but it's a fascinating story. There was a Jewish prisoner who was taken into prison by some dictator, some pirate, some overlord, for life. for life. He took him into prison. He had him in a cell or wherever. And he gave the Jew permission to go free 1 day a year. Imagine, 1 day a year you can go free. And he wrote a letter to the Radbaz and asked which day. Which day? You have 1 day, you could be with other Jews, you could be with your family, you could be free. Which day? What would you answer? He wrote, should it be Rosh Hashanah? Every day he could daven in the cell. Should it be Rosh Hashanah so you can hear shofar? Should it be Yom Kippur so you could daven b'tzibur? You could daven b'yechidus Yom Kippur, but he wants to daven b'tzibur. Should it be Sukkos so you could shake a lulav and an esrog? Should it be Chanukah so you could light 1 day Chanukah? Should it be Purim? You could be Mekayim the mitzvahs of Purim, or should it be Pesach? He can have a seder. He can eat matzah. He could sit there. Or you would add, should it maybe be the bar mitzvah of your son? Should maybe be the wedding of your child? Should maybe
Nowadays,
be...
you can maneuver the day.
What did he answer?
Unbelievable question, huh? Huh?
What was the answer?
Any day he wants him from.
So the Radbaz had declared, like, which mitzvah should be doicha, which mitzvah, like... And the Chacham Tzvi writes, wrong answer. The answer he wrote back was, which day? Today. Today. The first possible day you get out. And he said, today, there's a mitzvah to daven mincha, there's a mitzvah to daven ma'ariv, there's a mitzvah to daven shachos, to daven b'tzibur. Today. Avart. That's what he said. Why are you waiting? Today should be the day. You can go out today, go out today.
So that means he went with the tzad.
Matzah, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. No, it's not so. Huh?
Why isn't it right to one of the...
In other words, today is mincha. Go down mincha.
That means we don't...
So you're going to say, but I need a matzah, I need seder, Rosh Hashanah. What are you looking for drama for? Today you have a mitzvah to daven b'tzibur, go out today. It's also, I think, psychologically, it's a very powerful idea. Everyone is looking for the right day to go free. When will be the time in my life that I'm going to become a free man? I said, today. You're going to wait till you retire, till you make $1 million, till you have your shalom bayis together, till your kids grow up, till everything is in order. Then I'll go out from jail. I'm ready to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Chanukah, Purim. My kids will be this, I'll have this, I'll become the Rosh Hakol, I'll become this, I'll become Jens, I'll go on vacation, I'll run away from the community, whatever it is, Kol Chadla from Shura delay, then I'll become free. So he says, today, today, go out. It's an unbelievable story. Shalos HaTshuvos, it's in the Shalos HaTshuvos, it's printed. Shalos HaTshuvos Chacham Tzvi. Huh? He said, Minches, da Minches, he said, da Meirev, was suchst du? What do you need matzah for? Mincha is garnished. Matzah sounds exciting, but that's mitzad halacha. I think he also meant mitzad toichen. You have an opportunity to be free, take it. I mean, probably other people would say, wait for a family event, wait for a simcha, wait for this, wait for that.
Says you have to think every day of every mitzvah. It's not like this.
He's not saying you have to think. I don't know if you have to think every day. And then Rabbi Litzman would be right. You can't think every day about every mitzvah because... But the point is, every day you're mechuyev in every mitzvah. Every day you're mechuyev in every mitzvah.
I read a story once, an old cousin would go around and say, Hein is the top.
Yeah. 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 There's a Lashon Hazoyer. Kol yoyma v'yoyma avid avidit. Every day is. Especially the Baal Shem Tov says that the world is created every moment. So every day is the day. Wees the word from the Satmar Rebbe, the Divrei Yoel.
Everything is good.
So steht in Parshas Eikev, Eretz Asher Eini Hashem Elokecha Ba, Mereshis Hashana Vad Acheris Shana. So first it says Hashana and then it says Shana. In grammar it doesn't make sense. Like in English you could say from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. You don't say from the beginning of the year till the end of a year. Either you say from the beginning of a year till the end of a year, or from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. Mereshis Hashana Vad Acheris Hashana, or Mereshis Shana Vad Acheris Shana. Shana is a year, Hashana is the year. Why Mereshis Hashana Vad Acheris Shana? So he said that by people's nature, in the beginning of a year, everyone is excited. This is going to be the year. You remember the first day in yeshiva, what you felt like? Even though you were thrown out last year and you had sodas, but this is the first year you come in, a new uniform, you're dressed, you get a new chavrusa, yeah? It's going to be the year you're going to have hatzlucha. You remember that first day of yeshiva, the first day of school, first day of a wedding, first day...
Therapy to forget about it.
Okay, then the Malamed gave you a patch and it was all over. The first day you got a frask, it was all over. But the beginning of the year is the year. And then he says, then the year passes and you come to the end of the year and you say, another year bites the dust. It started with Hashana and it ended up with Shana. And another year gepattet decided, nothing, accomplished nothing, still miserable. Zalbetzaras. So Torah wants to tell you that's the normal uderech. But you shouldn't make that mistake. And that's pshat we say in Hu Elokeinu, Henga Alti Eschem, Acharis Kivreishis. That the Acharis should be as fresh as the Bereshis. You shouldn't say, another year passed, it's nothing, let it go. The Acharis should have the same freshness like the Bereshis. The Radomski Rebbe, the Tefillah Shlomo says, fascinating thing. He says, Mincha Erev Rosh Hashanah, you say, Baruch Aleinu, like every day, Baruch Aleinu, Hashem Elokeinu, Es Hashana Hazois, it's Kol Minei Svos L'Toiva, right? Sabayni Mitavecha, Baruch Shnasaini Kashunim HaToivos L'Vracha, Baruch Hashanim. A lot of people daven Mincha Erev Rosh Hashanah when they come to Shul for Maidav, yeah? They daven when 3 minutes before Shkia, yeah. In Bells and Satma, you daven after Shkia, it's for the zweite Shkia, yeah. He says, I don't understand. It's a minute before Rosh Hashanah, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. What are you saying? Baruch Aleinu es Hashana Hazois, Sabeinu Mitavecha, Baruch Shnaseinu. How much time is left to the year? 5 minutes is left to the year. Mevarech Hashanim, and you're saying Hashem's name. Chabracha Levatola. Says it's the Charaya as in a minute. In a minute can man bite the ganze year. 1 minute you change the whole year. But it's a perspective, it's an attitude. So today is the day. Today is the day. I'll call upon him Kei Nir Eloimar in the Svaras HaMachloikas with Baal Tosif. It could be that's the Svara. Kaman Nepsa Halacha. Rabbi Litzman, you see you made a comment yesterday about halacha, and look at the oilam, everybody's here. You should have spoken earlier. I went late enough, yeah? Still the Zman of halacha. We said every Zman is, man darf nicht trachten jetzt wegen der nächsten Stier. Jetzt darf man trachten wegen dem Stier. Gimel, Simon Shin Lametes Iv Gimel. Ain't done in Dinei Mominus. On Shabbos or Yom Tov, you don't judge monetary disputes between people. Gzeir Shema Yichtavu. The Gemarah says it's a decree you may come to write. A court, usually when they have a din Torah, when there's disputes, you take a pen and you take notes. You write down what people are saying, you write down svaras. So that's why on Shabbos, even though biblically it's not a problem, but midirabbanan they made this gzeira because they may come to right. Vein oinshin b'Shabbos. You also don't administer any penalties on Shabbos. No punishments on Shabbos. Halachically, you're not allowed to punish on Shabbos. V'lechein asur litvois ulahachnis lebeis hasoyer mishin eschayev eza einish kadesh leyivrach. Therefore, you're not allowed to fetch or bring into prison somebody who's mechuyev of a penalty in order that he shouldn't run away. We don't mean if it's an issue of life and death, then pikuach nefesh is doich everything. But it means you want to punish him on Shabbos, you want to put him in prison. V'chol shekein she'asur la'al koisai, you're not allowed to hit him. Shezau b'chlal din, v'im yivrach ein aleinu klum. He runs away. He uses the opportunity on Shabbos. He runs away. It's not our problem. Ve'in misadrin tainas b'Shabbos. You don't even organize the tainas on Shabbos. People come with tainas. Aval the dayan wants to hear. Aval likvoi l'lahatzia dvarim kigoyin al tainas psulim mutter k'mashakasu b'Ebene Ezer simin beis. To likval is to lament, and lahatzia dvarim, to say things. A person comes to complain about something, the tainas psulim, the issues with shalom bayis, and this he's allowed on Shabbos. V'tikrin Rabbeinu Gershom Eira Goylish le'levatel atamid b'Shabbos im leibishvil tainas hakol. Rabbeinu Gershom, the light of the Golus, was masaka not to be mevatel the tamid on Shabbos. The tamid here doesn't mean the carbon tamid. Of course, Rabbeinu Gershom lived after the Beis Hamikdash. It means the tefillah that's kavua. It's sibur beis haknesses. You shouldn't be at mevatel unless there's tainas hakol. In other words, there's a minyan kavua in the shul. You shouldn't be at mevatel unless there's complaints of the kahal because of the timing. You don't make a place for chalitza, a woman who needs chalitza from her brother-in-law when her husband died childless, because that looks like you're sitting down for a din, and you don't do that on Shabbos. Daled ein mekachin es ha'isha. You don't do kiddushin on Shabbos. You don't betroth a woman on Shabbos. V'loi choltzen. You don't give chalitza on Shabbos. Again, chalitza is a woman whose husband died childless, and she either marries her brother-in-law, or her brother-in-law does a procedure with her called chalitza. You don't do that on Shabbos. V'loi megarshin. You don't give a get on Shabbos. Gzeir shema yichtiv. All these three things is, whenever you mekadesh an isha, there's usually writing going on. You have to prepare ksuva. So therefore, you don't do kiddushin on Shabbos. You never marry on Shabbos. You don't give a get on Shabbos. You don't do chalitza on Shabbos. Because Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, yeah, we'll see, yeah. There's one exception. A man is very sick on his deathbed. He wants to divorce his wife, so she shouldn't have to marry his brother, because there's no children. He doesn't want to. She should have to marry the brother and then need chalitza, and then she's pasal to akoya, and it's just problematic. So now she's anyway going to be pasal to akoya because he's going to be megadish. But the issue is he doesn't want. She should have the headache of yibum and chalitza, because, for example, if his brother is a baby, so she's going to have to wait till the brother grows up to do chalitza. So it's a big problem. He doesn't want the mess. Or even if he's not a baby, she should be free. You know, his brother, he knows his brother's on nudnik, a veltz nudnik, and a control freak. So whatever the reason is, he tira loy legarish b'Shabbos. They let him do it on Shabbos. Of course with a get.
Not to write.
No, not to write.
Yeah, not to.
No, if the get was written. Or he could tell them to do it. He could deliver it, yeah.
So that she shouldn't have the problem with adults.
He's going to die tomorrow. So he makes a shliach, he says, go, give it. Huh?
You can do it anyway.
Yeah.
That would be the reason.
Yeah. Al derech she's boy by Eben Ezer Simon Kuf Lamed Vav, Kadesh Leitit Tardiv Daiti Alovim Lo Yasur Itzayna. Especially we want to do this because if not doing his will could really create him, make him completely insane. V'chein ein miyabmin v'loi koinsin ishel lechupa afilu kitchem eboid yoyim. Even if the Kedushin was Friday afternoon, you don't make a chuppah Friday night. You don't do yibum or bring in an isha to the chuppah on Friday night, even though the Kedushin was by day. Because when you go into a chuppah, you're koina your wife in the terms of Yerusha, meaning when somebody's mekadesh an isha and she dies, he doesn't yarshin her. Once they have a chuppah, which is called nisuyin, and then she passes away, he does Yarshin, he becomes a Yoidish or Ir. That means that through the chuppah he's koina isa. But also liknas kinyan b'Shabbos b'nei b'chlal gzeres mekach memker shegazrim mishum shema yichtav. The Chazal made a gzeira not to buy and sell on Shabbos, make a kinyan. Why? Because again, you may come to right. So even a chuppah, which is a form of a kinyan of the isha, because before you were koina her as a wife, but now you're koina her as your Yoidish, you don't do on Shabbos. V'yesh matirim, there is a heter, l'kadesh, to be mekadesh a woman, v'lichnois, and to bring her into a chuppah, to get fully married, l'misha ein l'isha obonim, misha mitzvah's period of Erivia. If he was never married before, never had children, for the mitzvah of period of Erivia, there's a shitta that is matirit. V'af she'ein ze ikr, even though this is not the halacha, mekol mokem soimchen al zeh b'shas hatchak. If you have a shas hatchak, a distressful situation, what would be a shas hatchak? Wait for Sunday. We'll soon see. If it's a shas hatchak, you rely on this shitta that you can get married on Shabbos. Ki gadol kvoid habriyas. Because the kavod of people is enormously significant. You hear, Lenny? Gadol kavod habriyas. Kamoisha regilin, what's the story? So he gives an example. Shalapa'amim lo'hoyu yechaylim lahashrisim hanedunya b'yoyim vav ad halayla. The family is fighting, and a whole Friday they're fighting. They can't figure out what the nadin should be. The chassan wants $200,000 cash, plus a house in Bnei Brak, plus a summer house in Lakewood, plus a summer house in Switzerland, plus being koilel for 55 years. And the shver says, I'm a teacher, I don't even make ends meet, I don't have challah for Shabbos. He says, but you're getting a gadol hadar like me, without a house and 50 years, and the money has to be already in a trust account. For 50 years I should be able to learn, then I'm not marrying your daughter. And they're fighting. You think I'm making jokes, right? Halavaya would be a joke. What goes on today in the world of shidduchim, in certain communities, is a disaster. It's a churban. It's disgusting. Disgusting. Ve'ein poitzepel mitzavtzav. So what happens is, they're fighting about the Nadan, b'yoyim vav ad halayla, Friday till the night. Now what's going to happen? V'oisen ha'chuppah v'kedusha b'leil Shabbos. So the chuppah, if you want it, and the kedusha to be Friday night, hoyel kvar huchnu l'suda v'linisuya. They already prepared all the food for the meal and for the marriage. V'hoya biyush l'kalo l'chasanim lo'yichnesas. They couldn't get the chuppah together Friday because the mechatanim were killing each other. It's Friday night, it's Shabbos, all the food is ready, the flowers, the wine, alts the rav, the ksuva, everything is there. Now you say, sorry, it's Shabbos. And the kala would get, and the kala is already with her gown, and already the makeup artist came 5 a.m. Verstehst du? The kala is sitting as though not moving her head because of the makeup already for 12 hours with a tillin. And now you say, sorry, you got to wait till Mitzvah Shabbos. It's a biush for the chassan and kala. So therefore, it's at kavod habriyas. You could rely on the shitta that if you never got married before, you can get married on Shabbos and do the chuppah on Shabbos and do the kedushin on Shabbos. Now I'll discuss with you tomorrow. I'll tell you the story how this Sifr Shulchan Aruch came about. The Sifr Shulchan Aruch is not in Shulchan. You're not going to find it anywhere in Shulchan Aruch. The Sifr Shulchan Aruch was written because of a story. The story was, I'll tell you the whole story. The story was a story with the Ramah that happened in Krakow. The Ramah married off somebody on Shabbos, and from the whole world they wrote him letters. How can the rabbi of Krakow, mamish, be over on a Mishnah Masechta Beitza? The Mishnah says in Beitza, Ein Mekatshim b'Shabbos. You're not allowed to make kedushin on Shabbos. Imagine the chief rabbi of Krakow, the Mezid, is over on a Mishnah, Issa de Rabbanan. It's unheard of. The Ramah was considered an Ashkenaz from the Gedolei Adar. So imagine he violates a clear a clear halacha in Shulchan Aruch. I mean, he wrote the Shulchan Aruch, the Hagaz in Shulchan Aruch. So I'm not going to say he was over on the Ramah. You can't say the Ramah was over on the Ramah. This made one of the greatest commotions. What happened? And the Ramah writes the whole story why he did it. And from this, the Alter Rebbe wrote a whole Sifr in Shulchan Aruch based on the story of the Ramah. But it's an Arichas, so we'll leave it for tomorrow. It's a fascinating story, and Lenny, make sure you come because you'll see how real rabbis deal with problems.
With real problems.
How real rabbis deal with problems. Yes. Yes. Huh? On Shabbos, yeah. Yeah. If I die, if I don't die. Yeah, yeah.
When I'm here, I don't think about it. I feel freedom.
Right. That's the problem. If he doesn't deliver the get on Shabbos, if he dies tonight, there's nothing to do. Because there's no man anymore. The get has to be given to the hands of the woman before he dies. If I make a shliach, if he makes a shliach today and he dies tonight, and tomorrow she gets it, because he's not alive anymore. Yes, when he was alive. That's why they made this heter. They made it the Chazal, who made the whole Isser against the get, said in this case, we're going to relax our Isser. Huh?
The UTA versus
I have to be ma'ayin. You're asking a good shayla. I don't know. I have to look. Okay.
They leave already, sure that I'm still there already. She's dynamite. Well, what's the day Tuesday? They're making a bris now in Pittsburgh. Plotkin, Roosevelt has an enicle to their bris.
Here?
No, in Pittsburgh.
Rabbi Roosevelt.
Plotkin.
Oh, from Toronto.
Last time I was there with the Bahrain and I sat with your father very well.
So where's the bris? In Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh. That's the Plotkin.
Is McKenna noch sagen Tachnon da?
Yeah.
Or if there's a bris in Pittsburgh, you don't say Tachnon and for sure. So for sure you don't say Tachnon. A whole year already. I know that they're the worst. If she was a zindik in the master.
So what do I do?
The Litvische zindik, ich meine the Chassidische zindik in us.
So I go to the other room to listen to you.
We're holding page 155, Daf Ayin Ches, column 1. It's interesting, in bones, in Atzamos, there's what's called the marrow, right? The marrow of the bone. In Yiddish it's called, or in Halach it's called the moyach. The marach, yeah, what is it called? The marach, yeah? The moyach, it's called the moyach. The marrow of the brown, the marrow of the bone, which is called moyach, as he says here, that in Chachmas Nituach, the bones are uniquely connected to the moyach, to the brain. The flesh is uniquely connected to the blood. And you have the arteries that connect the moyach to the leiv. Everything biologically is also reflected spiritually in ruchnius and avodas Hashem. That's where it begins, and then it manifests physically. That there's two different elements in the experience of Yiddishkeit. One is known as haskala, and one is known as hargosha. Haskala is basically the hisbonenus with a person's mind. The ability for a person to think and to learn and to understand, to appreciate. And that comes through learning and internalizing and understanding. And that's the Igiyas HaMoyach, it's working with the Moyach. And then there is the experiential element of it, which is the emotional relevance. And that's always much harder, because a person could learn about things and, as we said, remain detached. Emotions means you're attached, you're connected to it. You get emotional about it. When you're emotional about something, it means it affects you. You're not aloof, you're not detached. And in each one, there's a tremendous milah that the other one doesn't have. The milah in Midas is obvious. The milah in Midas is that it's personal, it's experiential. You're not a computer, as we said. You're not just, a database. V'chi oren gavruhu. You're not just an Oren Kodesh who Taka has holy ideas and svarim in him, but he remains an ark. He remains a doimim. But rather, it touches you. It affects you. On the other hand, there's a tremendous inyan in the Mailan Haskol, in the Moyach. And that is that by definition, Haskol, real Seichel, is you're looking for the truth of something. You're not looking for how it affects you. By definition, the concept of Seichel is you want to know what the truth is. It's irrelevant of how it affects me. It's the humility to ask not what it can do for me, but actually to find out what the truth is, what the emes is. Put it differently, as he says, the moment you're going from Seichel to Midas, the information has to go through a tremendous tzimtzum. It has to go through a tremendous tzimtzum, a tremendous restrictiveness, in order for it to be able to be relevant to me. For something to be relevant to me, it has to speak to who I am today. Not necessarily will truth, Kamosha, speak to me who I am today. It's too big, it's too loaded, or in his words, it's infinite. And the midas would be in this battle with Mitziyusam, so therefore, as I said yesterday, that many of the Chachmei Hachsidus, colleagues of the Balatanya, felt that the Ikka was hergish. The main avoid of Yiddishkeit, al Piderech HaBal Shem Tov, was only hergish, feelings. And you could see it, you see even till today, the residue of it, that in many Chassidish Chatzeris, the focus was always only emotions, feelings, islavas, passion. The way you daven, especially by davening, because that's the main time of dvekas, like he said. By davening, especially the slavas, the dvekas, the nigunim, the screaming, the making with the hands, passion, hearts. The sixth Lubavitcher Rebbe was the Rebbe Rayatz, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak. He traveled with his father, the Rebbe Rashab, Reb Sholem Ber, the fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe, to Vienna in 1903. The fascinating story, the fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe went to visit Dr. Freud, Sigmund Freud, for a few months in the winter of 1903, Tafrish Samach Gimel. So, Appella de Kazakh, he went all the way from Lubavitch, which is in Belarus, traveled all the way to Vienna, 1903, and spent a few months with Sigmund Freud. He would visit him. Freud, yeah. Shloimele Freud.
You straightened Freud out?
Huh? It's an extraordinary story. Huh?
He was sick when he went to shul.
He said he was having challenges, and he wanted to speak to him. Then he was known as a big neurologist, and he was there by him. He was there for a few months by him, and but he was in Vienna at the time. So in the morning, he would go with his son to a shul, and they would learn for 6 hours together every morning till the afternoon. I guess he would see him later in the afternoon. Or not every day, probably, a few times a week, I don't know. So they would learn Choshe Mishpat with Tur, Beis Yosef, and all the Mefarshim. The Achronim on Tur on Choshe Mishpat. Tur and Shulchan Aruch Choshe Mishpat, around 6 hours every day. So they went to a shtibel in Vienna, was known as the Primishlane shtibel. It was Primishlane Chassidim. You heard of Reb Meir Primishlan. He was from the big tzaddikim. So there was a group known as, it still exists, it's a small, it's not, Primishlan. So there was a shtibel of Primishlan Chassidim, and no one knew who the Rashab was. He came from Belarus, and he wanted it that way. He liked being incognito, so he would sit with his son 6 hours long. One day, an ältere Yid, a Chassidish Yid, comes over to him, and he says, Junger Mann, a ganze Tag Choshe Mishpat. A bissel Harz. Your Yiddishkeit is also kalt. He says, Mamish alts kalt. Halacha mit halacha Choshe Mishpat, he says. You need to inspire your heart, he says. Mit auf Anvarim in the hearts, your heart has to be on fire. So the Rayatz is watching this. His father's the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he's telling this to him. But he's quiet. He knows that his father would be... and he starts giving him Musar. It's not a derech. You need both. You need Choshe Mishpat, but auf Anvarim in the hearts. So his father, the Rebbe Rashab, looks at this Yid and he says, Vi Varamen on the hearts. You're right. Vi. So he says, Ichel de brengen a seifenel. And you should start learning it. And you'll start learning it, you'll understand what it means to have a heart for Yiddishkeit. And he goes to the other room and he brings back a Tanya. And he gives the Lubavitcher Rebbe the Tanya and he says, Na younger man, you take this sefer and start learning it, and you'll develop a heart to Yiddishkeit. So the Rayat says his father took the Tanya, looked at it, and says, yeah, a good to sefer. This is a good sefer. That was the conversation. And but it brings out the point. What was this Jew saying? What this Jew was saying is, where's the heart? Right? Where are your emotions? And yet, as I said, the Balatanya felt that the haskalah of Elikus, the understanding of Elikus, is critical. It's significant. Why? Because he felt without it, what's missing is, was machst du mit dem Kopf? You want to finish?
No, it's so true.
Why?
Because it gives you a seichel. What are you working for with the heart if you have, you don't know for what?
That's the challenge.
The empty suit.
Right. The challenge is that the heart is what makes me feel good at the moment. So sometimes a person comes into a room and they're singing a nice niggin. So you get inspired, you get into the mood. But an hour later, it's all over. Why is it all over? Because you were in an atmosphere where people were inspired, there were emotions, so you got emotional. You went with the flow. But it didn't become part of your humanness, part of your system, because you don't understand.
Was he, in this way, was he in a sense a forerunner of what was going to happen in Pshiska years later? Or was this a completely unrelated philosophic sort of debate?
I think it's connected, but I don't think it's mamish connected. I mean, I think the Mahalach, there's some common denominator there. But over there, it was Bechlal on learning. And here the focus was on learning in Yonim of Elikus, on learning, understanding godliness, Teres Anista, Teres Baal Shem Tov, taking it and communicating it in a system of Chachma Bina Das. Or to put it in different words, emotions work if you have a tremendous tzaddik who's taka on fire, and you watch him, or you see him, or you're in his presence, it awakens the fire in you. What if you're not going to have that one day? What are you going to be left with? So you're going to have to fake emotions, and that's the worst. The worst thing in the world is to fake emotions, because you're left dry, cold, and dead. But what happens? So if you have people of stature who mamash are on fire, l'avodas Hashem, and other people watch them, so their fire evokes your fire. The big fire triggers the small fire. What if you're not going to have that one day? So now people are left to their own devices, and they may have fine leaders, but not leaders of the stature of people who lived in that generation, the students of the Maggid of Mezrich, who were Kedoshei Elyon, one. They were great tzaddikim. Whether you're dealing with the Noam Elimelech, or the B'zush of Anapoli, or the Kapatitchever, the Chayz of Lublin. I mean, the Koshin Samagid, or the Chernobyl. I mean, each one in their own way, they were different. But each one in their own way was a fireball of inspiration. But he felt you come to a generation where you don't have that anymore. So what is the emotions going to be based on? if you didn't learn the information and apply it and absorb it, so what are you going to get emotional from? So you're going to have to make believe that everybody is feeling. So sometimes you can get emotional from the atmosphere. Every Jew has a neshama inside, but in order to be able to access it, in order to be able to trigger it, he felt you have to allow for the individual experience. The individual experience can only happen if people understand things. If people understand, then it's about you. It's not just about the tzaddik. This was a big machlokes. As I said a few times, then I don't know if you can understand so much what he meant. I think 200 years later, it becomes a little clearer what he meant. If you look how Chassidus operates today in 2017, and what's going on in various Hasidic courts, and there's a tremendous frustration. I hear this all day, emails and conversations with people, good people. When they grow up in Hasidic courts, they ask, what's Chassidus? What is it? What is it? What is it? What do we believe in? We believe in Streimlach and Shalashudas. What is it? What is it? It's just another chumrah, another gzeira. Our wives can't do this, our kids can't do this, no internet. What is it? No, but a lot of people just don't know. They mamish don't know. Nobody thinks they have to educate them. They just have to go with the system, go with the flow. The moment they ask too many questions, it's up to courses. You're not allowed to b'chal ask questions. And people are left mamish hanging dry. So people who go with the flow, it works for them. But people who are a little more, curious or inquisitive, there's tremendous breakdown. Never mind all the people that make believe they're in the system, but really they're out of the system, which is huge percentages beyond what most people around this table will imagine. Because everything looks good on the outside, and on the inside it's often decomposed. The Balatanya, I think, felt all of this very acutely, because he writes about this in his own way. Not explicit, but the concept. And that's why he was such a proponent of people learning and understanding the yisoidus of Yiddishkeit, the yisoidus of Chassidus. And in a way, he spent every maimer, he will not stop with his systems, but yesh and ayin and yesh, because he felt if you don't understand the mechus of what Yiddishkeit is, what avodas Hashem is, what a neshama is, what Torah is, what mitzvahs are, what tefillah is, etc., then ultimately the emotions are very volatile, and they will not have the staying power, the permanence. As long as you're in the presence of a great tzaddik, it's beautiful. The moment you're on your own, or you're in a generation when you're on your own, what are you left with? To have the backbone, you need the pnimius. Pnimius means it has to become yours. It also has to do with the fact, can people be independent? Can people be independent? People who go with the flow are not independent? That's an interesting question. Let's think about it. People who go with the flow, are they independent or not? It's like the guy who said, just because I'm paranoid, it doesn't mean the whole world is not chasing me. Usually if you go with the flow, you got nothing. To go with the flow is fine. The problem is, it's fine. Every person has to, see what works for their life. The problem is not going with the flow. The flow may be going in a very good place. The problem is when you're going with the flow and you're not there. There's no soul there. There's no person there. That becomes very, very painful.
Can't emotions mislead you? You're not sure if there's God. You always have emotions for something, but not.
That's number one. Why, if there's only emotion without seichel, it's not internalized. It's external inspiration. It's not internal inspiration. There's another element, and that is emotions by definition. Even if there are emotions, what are you getting emotional about? You're getting emotional about things which are meaningful to you. Things which are meaningful to you is never about the full truth. It's about what works for me. Seichel, on the other hand, is transcendence. It allows you to learn about reality that is beyond you. That's its chisaron. Its chisaron is you don't necessarily get emotional about it, but it expands your horizons to something that is beyond you. In other words, a Yiddishkeit that is only based on emotion, not on askala, is actually, he felt, one where you're selling yourself out for very small things. In other words, you're not allowing yourself to experience the full grandeur of truth. Where in Seichel you could learn things that are befedish above you and beyond you, and then let your emotions look up to that. Don't dumb down the truth. All emotions all emotions, I don't mean it so dramatic, but all emotions is dumbed down truth. Because it has to be for me, it has to work for me. You'll see, people get emotional about things that speak to their soul. Real infinity can't directly speak to my soul. It's too big. It's too infinite. So we want to create a Judaism just based on emotion. It's called feel-good Judaism. Feel good, right? But feel good about what? If it's a real emotion, it has to be feel good. That's when I get excited. I can't get excited about something that doesn't feel good. Feel good means it has to be limited to what speaks to my heart today. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, today. So what often happens is the person's entire perspective is a very limited perspective, where the moyach allows the person to soar beyond themselves. It allows you to transcend beyond your own identity, to look for the emes, not how the emes feeds me. And that's a very big difference. And that was also another major component. And the difference then is, when you're left without emotion, you're still holding on to something real, because you understood. But if you don't have the whole seichel experience, you're left without the emotion, you're left without anything. And because of that, he felt as critical as the meat component of Yiddishkeit is, you have to have the bones, the atzomos, which is connected to the moyach. And you need the arteries that then connect the moyach to the lave, the brain to the heart.
What do you do with the skin?
The skin? Oh, we'll soon see.
What is the
Skin goes to the kohen. The skin doesn't go on the mizbeach.
Doesn't have any elevation?
We'll soon see. Goes to the kohen, not to the mizbeach. He's going to address it. Huh?
Kedoshia Elian didn't foresee this. Said there were fireballs. They didn't chayze
You want to know why they didn't foresee
What was
this?
their-
Why
what
dafka
was
the
their
al
defense?
Balatanya?
What was the negative? That was more of a.
I'll tell you why.
Was the match?
It's not pshat. These things are not always a choice. It's who you are. The Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev had to be Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev. It was who he was. You know what I mean? It wasn't up as let me choose that role. Let me choose. This is who they were. They were kol kuloi eish. And Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev happened to be a gon oilam. He was. People don't realize. They think Berditchev was just a nice guy who used to say nice things about. So
I'm ready.
So the conclusion, so the summation of the sugya was, a few steps. Step number one, Rava said mitzvahs don't need kavanah. That itself is a revolutionary halacha. The action makes the mitzvah irrelevant of intent. Practically, somebody blows shofar because he wants to produce a beautiful sound for musical purposes, or somebody eats matzah because he was forced to eat matzah, he fulfills the mitzvah. Abaye challenged that by saying that the institution of Shmini Atzeres, of a Jew sleeping in a sukkah, Shmini Atzeres, would warrant lashes. Because mitzvah ain't tzrichas kavana, and that means, as Rashi put it, not having kavana is just like having kavana. So if I sleep in a sukkah without having kavana, it's like sleeping in a sukkah with kavana to fulfill the mitzvah. And at Shmini Atzeres, I'm over on Bal Tosif. You're not allowed to add to a mitzvah. I added an 8th day of sukkah. So the warranty should be, the penalty should be malchus lashes. Rava refutes that, Rava rejects it, and defends himself, and he says Bal Tosif can only be in the time of the mitzvah. The 8th day of Sukkot is not time of Sukkah. Bal Tosif could be on the first day of Sukkot when you put in another min to your lulav. Or in the morning when you put on tefillin, you add another box, another chamber to the tefillin. Or when you're putting on tzitzis, you add a 5th tzitzit. Torah says 4, you add 5. But here it's already, the time is over. Reb Shemen bar Abba challenged Rava from a brayso. Birchas koyanim, there is Bal Tosif. If a koyan adds his own bracha, or a bracha from the Torah, Yosef Hashem Aleichem Gachem Elav Pamim, even though he finished Birchas Koyanim, and the mitzvah is over. He did it already. In the middle of Birchas Koyanim, I get it. But after Birchas Koyanim, he's done, and then he decides to add a bracha. What's the problem? Why is there Bal Tosif? The answer that's given is that Reb Shemon's refutation is wrong, because it's still the Zman HaMitzvah. It's not like the 8th day of Sukkot relative to Sukkah. Rather, it's more of Zman HaMitzvah, because if another minyan would come around, the Kohen would be able to do a second Birchas Koyanim. Throughout the day, you could do Birchas Koyanim a whole day. So it's still the Zman HaMitzvah. So there could be a Chalois of Bal Tosif. The Gemarah said, let's prove this from a Mishnah in Zvachim that maintained that there is Bal Tosif if you add an application of blood to a carbon that only needs one. I have a carbon B'chayr or carbon Pesach that only needs one application. I add a second application. It's Bal Tosif. That's why there's a whole argument. If there's a mixture, what do? Can you add a second application or you can't? Right? If your oila got mixed with your b'chor, if your shlamim or asham or toida got mixed with your b'chor or meiser or pesach, these are the two categories. Why is there an argument? It's an argument. Even Rebbe Lezer, who says you could add, it's only because there's an oila over there. But if there's a b'chor, you can add, and certainly Rabbi Yeshua holds you can never add, even if you have an oila in there. Clearly, there's a Bal Tosif. The moment you made one application of blood, you did the mitzvah, your b'chor is done, finished, you're complete. Add whatever you want. It's like sleeping in a sukkah and Shmini Atzeres. There should be no Bal Tosif. You did your mitzvah, you're done. Now you're taking blood, you're putting it on the mizbeach, fine. But it's not anymore this mitzvah, it's not this Zman HaMitzvah. What do we have to say? Pshat is because this Zman HaMitzvah is continuing throughout the day. V'haraya, if the kohen is approached by another man and says, here, I have a b'chor, do me a favor, sprinkle its blood, he's obligated to do it. It's not like the 8th day of Sukkot, the 8th day of Yom Tov Shmini Atzeres, where there's no geder of Sukkah b'chlal. Right? It's not like it's the 7th day, and if you don't do it the 7th day, you do it the 8th day. It's over, it's finished. The whole concept of Sukkah doesn't exist. You don't make a bracha leisha b'sukkah, there's just nothing there. Just a hut, not a sukkah. Here it's this Zman HaMitzvah.
Even if the blood is going to be this different one, I cannot use this blood for the azay of the second.
Because it's not a because it's not that carbon. I can't use your blood for my carbon.
100%. And
that's a chisar in Pashat. You're not dealing with the right carbon.
You also see that whatever holiday they're putting on 2 sets of tefillin at the same time should be a minyan about places, or 2 sets of arba minim should be instead of. It's always adding a minyan, adding a parsha.
Right.
Why is that? It's clever.
yeah,
I mean, Rashi
Rosh Hashanah time on the same
Yeah, I
time.
know. So I'm saying, why parsha?
The Gemarah says, "Makam yesh b'rosh lanich
Yeah.
state tefillin."
Well, maybe this was never
So
adopted.
Tosfos will address that. We're going to learn Tosfos in Mamash in a few moments. Tosfos addresses this issue. The biggest question is shofar. We blow Rosh Hashanah 130 kailas. Some blow Meya kailas, right? Those who blow after davening also is another 30 kailas, 130 kailas. Al Pitaira, you have to blow 9 kailas. It's a serious Bal Tosif. You don't stop blowing. And you're doing it for the mitzvah. You want to kiyah shofar.
And to be hated in mitzvah.
Huh? Yeah, no. If you had a suffix, if you heard the first one, fine. But we're talking when you heard a good kiyas. Okay, so that's what's going to address all that in a moment. So the Gemarah responds and says, it's a strong raya. Says, no, there's no raya to Rav. It's not a contradiction to Rav. It's not a raya to Rav. Because you could say Rabbi Yeshua holds that you're over a Bal Tosif Shaloi B'Zmana. Really, Rav is wrong. You can't bring a raya from that Mishnah to Rav. That the Mishnah doesn't say that it's called Zmanoi, and Rav is right. Rav could explain that Mishnah that way. But you could say that the Mishnah has taka different shit. Rabbi Yeshua holds that you're over on Bal Tosif, even Shaloi B'Zmana, and therefore on Shmini Atzeres, you would taka get Malkus. There's no raya to Rav. Abaye may be right in his time. There's no raya. There's no raya because Rabbi Yeshua can hold you're over Shaloi B'Zmana. So therefore, we can't understand how you're going to bring a raya from that. It's not like the Mishnah says you're over on Bal Tosif only bismanai. You're explaining the Mishnah that way. You can explain it a different way. Maybe Rabbi Yeshua is not mechuyev to agree with Rava. Rava is an Amor, Rabbi Yeshua is a Tana. He has his own shitta. So the Gemarah says you misunderstood us. What we were trying to bring a raya from that Mishnah is not that Rava is right. We don't have a raya from that Mishnah that Rava is right. It's important to see how the Gemarah, how the logic works here. What the pshat was, we were trying to refute Reb Shemen. We asked on Reb Shemen, why did you bring a brisa, not a Mishnah? When you challenged Rava that there is a Bal Tosif later in the day, why did you bring Birchas Koyanim and not a Mishnah? It's always better to bring a Mishnah than a brisa. The answer is you knew that the Mishnah is not going to work because the Zman continues. No, so Birchas Koyanim also doesn't work. By you choosing the brisa over the Mishnah, you already confessed that your question is not a question. That's what we're trying to say. Minot Taimre that Reb Shemen bar Rabbi is wrong and Rava is right because he himself didn't bring the Mishnah. He only brought the brisa of Birchas Koyanim. But the same reason he didn't bring the Mishnah, he should have said to himself, you know what? The brisa also. So the Gemarah now has to defend Reb Shemen. What was he thinking? What he was thinking was that Birchas Koyanim, the Kohen could go home. Kohen could go home. If he wants to not do Birchas Koyanim, he doesn't have to. Where when it comes to the Karban B'chor, he cannot prevent himself from putting blood on the Mizbeach. He's mechuyev in it. And therefore it's clear that he wasn't over on the Zman HaMitzvah, and he was over on Bal Tosif. That was, he made himself a distinction between B'chor and Birchas Koyanim. Now Rava is not mechuyev to that distinction. Rava could say Birchas Koyanim is also after the Zman HaMitzvah, and B'chor is also after the Zman HaMitzvah.
And another Kohen to do it.
I'm sorry, what?
The Bechor also
No, again, Reb Shemen bar Rabbi made a distinction. Why? Because by Bechor he felt that the Kohen is mechuyev to stay. So therefore it's called Zman HaMitzvah. So there's no question from there. Birchas Koyanim is called not Zman HaMitzvah. And that's why he had a question from there. Rav is not mechuyev to hold on to that, right? Rav holds that Birchas Koyanim is also Zman HaMitzvah, because Sof Kol Sof, there's another minion, he could bless. But at least we explained the Svara of Reb Shemen, what he was thinking, and we also explained what we were trying to prove from the Mishnah, and Rava could still maintain his view, and all is good.
The Kohen cannot say another Kohen doing Mitzvah? There is no one Kohen in the Beis HaMikdash ready to do it.
Let's say if he's the only guy. You're right, if there's another Kohen, the other Kohen could do it. But the fact that if there's no other Kohen, he's mechuyev to do it, means that it's the Zman HaMitzvah.
He's really mechuyev, he cannot say tomorrow?
He can't say tomorrow. Take a look in Rashi. Loi sagi di loi hayev, I hader misram elei, the kachim loi mafsid. Gotta do it right away. You can't say tomorrow will wake up.
You go, if there's no Kohen, you go next door to the big shul, you ask 16 Koyanim, please come to Birchas Koyanim, I gotta go there.
Not mechuyev. Birchas Koyanim said not mechuyev.
I know, there's an argument about the Gersa, right? Yeah. There is a problem stam in the name, Reb Shemen bar Rabbi. It's an important Ha'ara Pashtan history. Some Agoyres, Reb Simi bar Ashi or Reb Simi bar Abaya. Why? Because Reb Shemen bar Rabbi was an Amoira. He was a Talmud of Reb Yochanan, and he lived in Eretz Yisrael. How can he ask questions to Rava, who lived later in Bavel? So that's a problem. So that's why many Agoyres, not Reb Shemen bar Rabbi, but Reb Simi bar Ashi or Reb Simi bar Abaya. The problem was it said Rashba, Rosh Hashanah, Reish Shin Beis Aleph. So you could read it Reb Simi bar Abaya or Reb Simi bar Ashi, and one of the Zetzes, one of the printers made it, decided it's Reb Shemen bar Abba, Rashba, Reish Shin is Reb Shemen bar Abba. That's how they say the mistake happened. Pashat Mitzvah history, he's talking to Rava, he says Meis of Reb Shemen bar Abba would be a problem. Now let's see Tosfos Minot Emra. Minot Emra the Tanat. Gedichte Tosfos. You see Chav Chesam at Beis 1 to 34, the fourth Tosfos from the top. Chav Chesam and Beis Minot Taimra. Tosif is addressing here the first question of the Gemarah. Minot Taimra, we want to prove from the Mishnah Masechta Zvachim, the Machlokes of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, we want to prove Rav's view that Baal Tosif is only in the Zman HaMitzvah. There's no Baal Tosif night. Zok Tosif Gabe Zrikas Dam. Minot Taimra, how do we know this? The Tanan Gabe Zrikas Dam. By Zrikas Dam, Legabe, blood that got mixed. So we're going to see that you're Eved on Baal Tosif. Why? Because the whole day is considered the Zman of the Mitzvah. Taima, I don't understand. Why are you bringing a raya from Zrikas Dam? That what? That since if the B'chor will still, another B'chor will be here, the Kohen has to be makrivit. The Ma'ul Meidahach, Ma'hi the Kohen, Sha'ala L'duchen. Why is this stronger? Why is Zrikas Dam a better raya than the story of a Kohen that goes up to a ducha? That he's over on Baal Tosif. He goes up to the platform to do Birchas Kohen. And he's over on Baal Tosif even though he finished all the brachas. And you said why? Because if there'll be another minyan today, he could continue Birchas Kohenim. So therefore, if you're going to say by the Kohen that he's over on Baal Tosif, because even after the Zman, he's over on Baal Tosif, so then by Zrikas Dam you could say the same thing. He's over Baal Tosif even after the Zman. If you taina by B'chor that it's still the Zman because if another B'chor comes he does it, so the same by Birchas Kohenim, that if another minyan comes he does it. So b'meila, why is it Minot Taimra? From the Mishnah in Zvachim you bring a raya. The Braisa and Birchas Kohenim, you just answer it. Bring a raya from there also. The same raya you're bringing from the Mishnah and Zvachim, bring from the Braisa. It's a funny structure. When it came to Birchas Kohenim, we said, ooh, this is a real challenge to Rabbi, but you know what? We're going to defend him. When it comes to the Mishnah and Zvachim, we're not defending, we're bringing a raya from the Mishnah and Zvachim. The same raya, bring from Birchas. What's your raya from the Mishnah and Zvachim? You're over on Baal Tosif. How you over on Baal Tosif? You have to say because it's man ha-mitzvah. Why is it man ha-mitzvah? Because if there's another b'chor, the kohen will do exactly the same thing. You could do with Birchas Kohenim. By Birchas Kohenim, you're over on Baal Tosif. Why are you over on Baal Tosif? The answer is because if there's another minyan, you're going to do it again. So bring an eye from there also. If you can't bring an elamai, you can't bring an eye from there. You can't bring an eye from there. Why suddenly on this Mishnah the Gemarah chaptzachon Minot Taimra? Do it on the first one also Minot Taimra. V'yesh loymar the gabi kohen shemiskavan levarach ulahaisif yochel liyah sha'over afal gav the lavs manayu. Interesting. By a kohen who has kavanah to be moisef a bracha, you could say he's over on Baal Tosif even though it's taken not the time. Why? Because he's having kavanah to be moisef on the bracha. What is he trying to do, this kohen? He wants to add to blessing of the Jewish people. Why is he saying psukim? Yosef Hashem Alechem. He's bored. He's trying to test his vocal cords. He wants to be moisef on the bracha. So you could say, even if it's not zmanoi, you're over on Baal Tosif. There's no hechrich to taich that it's zmanoi. You could say it's really not zmanoi. Birchas Kohenim is over. It's almost like the day after Sukkot. He's done, finished. Finished davening, Vasikin Minyan, 6:30, they're finished Birchas Kohen and Musaf, they're ready for Kiddush. Right? 6:30 a.m. The way to do it. Not the 8 o'clock. The Minyan is Chassidische Minyan. Even though it's Nusach Ashkenaz. The Vasikin Minyan. So right, he's done. Birchas Kohenim is finished. So why is he over on Baal Tosif? He's over on Baal Tosif because he's having kavanah to bless the Jewish people. So there you could say it's Taka Lav's Manoi, but there's still Baal Tosif. What about by B'chor? From here there's a raya. Why? Because Aval Khan here, what's here? By the blood, She'enim Eskaven Lahosef. This Jew, he's not trying to be Moisef on the Mitzvah. He's very happy to do one application. Kohen is not like, I don't like the Torah. I don't like this halacha that we have to do one application. I'm doing 2. I'm doing 3. That's not what's going on. Is Nishkin Kohen who deciding he's more frum than Birchas Kohenim? The Kohen has an issue. Hashem said how to bless the Jewish people. Was machst du eigene brachas? So I have a feeling I have to give another bracha. I have to give my own bracha. I have to add things. I get that. This guy is not trying to add to Torah. The issue is, Khan ein miskaven lahosef. The only reason he's adding another application is the poor guy has a suffix. the blood got mixed in, got intermingled, and he has a suffix. Because he has a suffix, so therefore, ein loy laver. So therefore, I would say he shouldn't be over on Baal Tosif if it's a b'choir. If it's taka the blood of the b'choir, he shouldn't be over. Ilav mishum de chashav zmanai. Unless it's chashav zmanai. In other words, if it's the zman ha-mitzvah, so even though it's not your kavanah to do Baal Tosif, but lepayil, you're adding to the mitzvah. You're taking the b'choir and you're adding. But if it's achaz manoi, I say 1 second. The whole inyan of the b'choir is not here anymore. So if there's a kavanah, you hear the svara of Tosfos. It's a reiche svara. By Birchas Koyanim, this Koyan is getting up and saying the Torah is not enough, I gotta add. So I can say even if this man is over, this is Baal Tosif. That itself is Baal Tosif. The Birchas Koyanim is over. Yeah, so this would be, I decide to build a sukkah on Chanukah. Ve'edik gebeten. L'shem mitzvah sukkah. Who asked you? Who asked you to build a sukkah? Chanukah, you light candles. You don't build sukkahs. It's also winter. This guy is having kavanah. If you're having kavanah to be Mosif, I could say even the day after, it's a problem. So even if this man is over, it's still Baal Tosif. So I can't bring a raya from there to Rava who wants to prove that la'achar zmanai there's no Baal Tosif. What I want to bring a raya from Rava is from the Dam HaBchor. Because the Dam HaBchor, if it would be la'achar zmanai, it wouldn't be Baal Tosif. Because there's no kavanah. Mamish no kavanah. Elamai, if it's the zman ha-mitzvah, now you have to be careful. This is the time. This is what the Torah said to do. Don't add. You're doing it for good intentions because you have a suffix. I got it. But the pearl you're adding. So therefore, the Gemarah doesn't bring an ayah from Birchas Koyanim. From Birchas Koyanim, you can't bring an ayah because over there you can say it's la'achaz manoi, but it's still going to be Baal Tosif because that's his kavanah. The Kohen is not getting up and by mistake he's saying psukim. Yeah, doesn't start saying Bereshis Bara L'Kimas Hashmayim V'Sa'aretz. He says certain psukim. It's not even like the guy sleeping sukkahs and Shmini Atzeres because he just wants a good bed. That's where his bed is. He wants a good night's sleep. The Shaila is if mitzvah saying sukkahs kavanah. Here he's mamish having kavanah. It's like a shtickle merida b'malchus. There's a text how to bless the Jews from the Creator of the world. What are you manipulating it? What are you adding? They say an anecdote that there was once a Yid in Varsha. Lenny, you like this? He translated a play by William Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice. He translated it into Yiddish. Yankel Finkelstein. So he had the Scharblatt on the title page. He wrote like this: The Merchant of Venice, the Seuche from Venezia, The Merchant of Venice from William Shakespeare, übergesetzt und verbessert durch Yankel Finkelstein. Translated and enhanced by Yankel Finkelstein. Okay? Übergesetzt und verbessert. Was verbesserst du Birchas Koyanim? Who asked you? So therefore there's a Baal Tosif. But by B'chor, no, this is very innocent. The poor guy wants to do the right thing. He's not trying to be Mosif to Torah. So here, after the Zman, there wouldn't be a Baal Tosif. Elamai, what do you have to say? You have to say that it's B'toich HaZman. Why is it B'toich HaZman? The guy finished the B'chor. The answer is, why? Because if there would be another minyan, not another minyan, if there would be another carbon, he would still do it. So that would be a yisoid for the svara of Rava to say the same thing by Birchas Koyanim. That once that you have this svara, that it's still considered zmanus, then you could already say by Birchas Koyanim it's also considered zmana. And you taka over only in the zman. And then even sukkah shmini atzeres, even if you have kavanah to do sukkah, it wouldn't be a problem because it's not the zman. That's how Tosfos explains it. If not elavadai, since you are over, amrin in the chashav zmanai. You have to say that it's chashav zmanai. Why? Mishum zimnin di misramile buchra hademazimine. Because if another b'chor would come, it may not happen. It may only be one b'chor a day, but another guy may show up with a b'chor. Hadar mazimine, the kayan will sprinkle again. Hadar means again. He'll do it again. If this makes it zmanai, who adin legabe kayan my time. I go back to Birchas Koyanim and I say, you know what, over there I can also say the same thing. I don't have to say that it's not Zmanoi and you're over because you're having Kavanah, which would make me a big problem with Sukkah Shmini Atzeres, at least if I have Kavanah. I could say, it's called Zmanoi and that's why you're over on Baal Tosif. Even if you wouldn't have Kavanah. The Kohen actually has Kavanah, but even if you wouldn't have Kavanah, like by B'chor, if so, By Zrikas Dam Yoivid on Bal Tosif, it's only because it would be another carbon, and that's why it's called Zmanoi. And if it wouldn't be called Zmanoi, it wouldn't be Yoivid on Bal Tosif. And that's the raya that we want to bring from here. Great. L'poil, the Gemara doesn't bring a raya from here because Rabbi Yeshua may have a different shitta. Rabbi Yeshua may hold Yoivid Bal Tosif, even Shaloi Bizmana. He's very extreme. So we don't have a raya, as the Gemara went on to explain. But now, but Tosfos showed us a beautiful svara why the Gemara is so adamant on bringing a raya from Dam, not from Birchas Kohen.
Somebody is doing Birchas Kohen, but he's not adding a bracha, but it's Shaloi Bizmana, and it's not Baltois.
Right.
Why? It's not a mitzvah.
Yeah.
Why is it not Baltois?
According to the Svar in the Havam, I know what he's saying. No, he's saying that Birchas Kohen because he's having kavana, so even Shaloi Bizmanoi would still be Baltois if he adds, because he's Pasha trying to add to a mitzvah. It would be like a person putting on tefillin at night and saying, you know what, I think tefillin has to be at night also. That's the right thing to do. Or we celebrate Shabbos on Sunday. Saturday? We do that, right? Saturday should be Sunday also.
So what happens if he doesn't add a bracha?
I text somebody on Sunday, so he writes me Sunday night. My minig is that Sunday I also shut my cell phone. Okay, it's got a minig. So I'm not going to call that Bal Tosif. He's Meisif to Shabbos. Halavai, you should shut your cell phone on Monday too. It's nicht Bal Tosif. You have a little menuchas nefesh. But that's the word, because he's adamantly changing the Torah, so to speak.
But what happens if he doesn't add a bracha, but he does...
Stam Birchas Kohen.
Why is it not Baltois?
So it's a bracha levatala.
Why is it not Baltois?
If he does Birchas Kohenim Stam, you say. What's Shaloi Bizman? Every day is Birchas Kohenim. There's no Shaloi Bizman in Birchas Kohenim. Every day a Kohen is Birchas Kohenim. No, by day.
For a Kohen, can I give Birchas Kohenim just like this to a human being?
Oh, a Kohen? Yeah, you could say Pesuk. Anybody could say Pesukim of Torah. That's not... yeah. You have even sometimes Kohenim get up, sometimes in a, by an asif or something, they'll give Birchas Kohenim. I mean, it's an ultimate.
By wedding, by bris, by...
Yeah, sometimes by a chuppah. They'll bless a child. I mean, it's... that's not about... What's the Baltoisef over there? A Kohen is blessed. Even a regular Yid, I get up and I want to say Yivarecha Hashem Yishmenach was... if a Yid is allowed to say Psukim of Torah, why? If I do it as a Kohen for Birchas Kohen, but if I'm giving a bracha to a Yid, then I'm using the Psukim.
Father does it every day.
Yeah.
I mean, by Kol Nidre, Friday night, all father, how many Kehillas fathers do it? They're not Kohenim. Everybody in Kippur before Kol Nidre, they bless their children with Yivarechecha. He's not saying I'm a Kohen, I'm doing it as Birchas Kohen with a bracha. He's not doing that. He's using the Rebbeinu Shalom's nusach to bless his children. Achoyseinu atayil al for Revava, Yisem Chelikim Kefran v'Chemanash. A Yid once came to the Rogatchovagon and he asked for a bracha. He didn't like giving brachas. He would send him to the Kohen, who was the Ur Sameach, the Meshech Chachmer of Meir Simcha, Kohen of Dvins, who was a Kohen. And he was also the Rav of Dvins, the Rav of the Ashkenaz. So he would always send for brachas. He says, "Get some Kohen." But this Jew was mamish, adamant, give a brachas. And the Rogatchova says, "I don't give brachas. It's not my thing." So he says, the Gemarah says, "Al tihi birchas hedyet kala beinecha." That's even a hedyet. Kol shekem v'kal v'chomer you. So he says, what do I have to give a bracha with a kal v'chomer? Why don't you give yourself a bracha without a kal v'chomer?
So something happened to that
Weiter. Sagt Tosfos weiter. Now comes a general question. General question are many practices that we have that would seem like Bal Tosif. We learned in the first chapter. Why do we blow twice Tkiyah Shofar? We blow when we're sitting, and we blow, in other words, Yoshvin Tkiyas Miyusha before Musaf, and then we blow again during Shemini Esrei of Musaf. Why do we blow twice? And for the Gemarah, Kedei la'arve v'sasat, to confuse the Satan, as Rashi puts it there on Daf Tezayin, that when he sees the chivuv ha-mitzvah, the love of the mitzvah of the Jewish people, they're adding to Tkiyah Shofar. They're so in love with Hashem's mitzvahs. Misbalbalim tanoisav. Everything by him gets confused. Yeah, and there is which you have to exactly understand what that means. I think we learned then that Chedush Harim says a beautiful vart that the Gemarah says in Masechta Yuma Daf Pevav. Rish Lakish says that when you do tshuva me'ahava, zdoinois nasa like kazachi, is the sins become mitzvahs. When you do tshuva out of fear, yira, zdoinois nasa like kishgagas, the sins, zdoinois, become like mistakes. But when you do tshuva me'ahava, zdoinois nasa like kazachi, is the sins become like mitzvahs. So Tkiyas Shofar, it's a Yom Hadin, the Satan's job is to be Mekatrik, they did this, they did this, they did this. He brings up all the sins. When he sees Yisrael Mechavev in his mitzvahs, Rashi says Mechavev, Tshuva out of Ava, so what happens? All this doinah suddenly become mitzvahs, so he gets in Gansen confused. Well, every Aveda that he brought as a source to prosecute the Jewish people now becomes a source of defense. There's nothing worse for a prosecutor in court than when all the items, all the exhibits he's displaying in order to make the person guilty is being used against him. That's the Bilbul Asat. That's what the Gemarah says, I'll call upon him, why we blow twice, la'arve v'sasat. Frek toisves, irve v'asatna, irve v'asatna, irve v'avim mishum bal toisef. The man is moisef on tkiyas over on bal toisef. Why? You only have to blow once. Kshein yoshvin, kshein oimden. V'oid furthermore, we're going to learn in Gemarah, the last Perek, the fourth Perek, Daf Lamedalet, Sholosh Truas Nemru B'Rosh Hashanah. We have 3 times the word Trua by Rosh Hashanah. Va'avarta Shofar Trua, Shabbos and Zichron Trua, Yom Trua Yilachem. I should just say one of them was really said by Yom Kippur by Yovel, not Rosh Hashanah, but there's a Gzeirah Shavah, so that's why Tosif just says Glat, that it says by Rosh Hashanah, which is interesting because it teaches you how a Gzeirah Shavah works. A Gzeirah Shavah is so serious, a limud, that when you have one word in one halacha and another word in another halacha, and we apply that halacha, the law of that halacha to this halacha, it's like it's said in this halacha. Because that's why the Torah was written this way, with this word here, this word there, that you should be able to hot sink. That's the word I just realized. Hot sink. The halachas of that situation, the halachas of that situation. And therefore, Tosfos says by Rosh Hashanah it says 3 times Trua. Shnayim midivrei Torah, va'achas midivrei Sofer. 2 of these Truas are biblical. 1 is rabbinic. Why? Because the 3rd one it says Yom Trua Yilachem, and as we'll see later, Yom Trua Yilachem is to teach Gzeirah Shavah from the Tkiyas of the Midbar, where it says also Trua, where Moshe Rabbeinu used to gather the machanas, and from there we learn that every Trua needs a Tkiyah before and a Tkiyah after. Because Rosh Hashanah we only know Trua, we don't know Tkiyah. Why do we do Tkiyas? We should do Truas. We should just do Truas. Do. Or if you want to say Truas Shvanim, do. Why do we do Tkiyas? Because we learn from another Gzeirah Shavah that every Trua needs a Tkiyah before and a Tkiyah after. There's another shita there that it's actually the other way, that 2 of them are Medivrei Sofrim and 1 is B'Dorais. But the bottom line is this: V'hashta, according to everybody, you're not mechuyev min HaTorah to blow shalosh truas. The question is 2 or 1 min HaTorah. So when you're doing it the 3rd time, avar mishum bal toisef, my question is not only davening musaf and blowing tkiyas. My question is the first tkiyas already we're doing bal toisef. Already the first tkiyas we're doing too much. What's the structure of tkiyah shofar? 3 truas. Every trua needs a tkiyah before and a tkiyah after. Altogether it's 9 blasts and you're done. Trua. Each trua needs a tkiyah before, a tkiyah after. So 3 truas ends up into 9 koilas. Tkiyah, trua, you're done.
And even this is
the problem now is we don't know what trua is. Trua could mean trua, what we call trua, tu. Trua could mean shvarim. Ooh, a krech, the Gemara is going to say a sigh or a sob. Or it could mean both. So we do all 3. So we do tashrat, tashat, tarat, and we're done. But that itself is about Tosif. Because the 3rd trua is already a hisaf on the mitzvah. The Rebbeinu Shalom says blow 2 truas, very big and better to blow 3. So then you don't know what true is. That's fine. But who asked you to blow 3 truas? Because you decided you want to blow. Hashem said what to do. Why is there no Baal Tosif? Forget the Musaf. The Musaf is even worse. That's the first question. In the first kiyas we have a problem. We're adding truas. Afal gav, the kvar avar v'yotzer. You're going to tell me, not a problem. It's not zmanoi. You finished. You blew through truas. You finished kiyas shofar. You're done. Now you're adding. Blow shofar. Oh, I care if you take a shofar today and blow. Tosif says no. Afal gav the kvar avar v'yotzer mikol makom. Yisram elei tzibur acharina. That's why it comes into this Tosif is the question. We're going to use the same svara. If you're a Baal Tekei and a new minion comes and they didn't hit Kiyah Shofar, you blow Shofar, right?
For them.
For them. Hader Taka. So it's still the Chashav Zmaneh. It's still considered a Zman, just like by Zrikas Adam, just like by Birchas Kayanim, that even though you finish the mitzvah of Birchas Kayanim and the B'chayr, it's still the Zman of Kiyah Shofar. We all understand. 10 o'clock in the morning, another Jew didn't hear Shofar, it's still the Zman of Shofar. You could blow for him, he could blow for himself a whole day. Kol hayam kashlut kiyah shofar. Mishnah Megillah. V'oid further, afilu lav zmanei. Even if you want to argue and say, it's not the Zman HaMitzvah, even though the first svara is a svara. But you want to say, for him, it's not the Zman HaMitzvah anymore. I already did my tkiyas. You didn't hear, I'll blow for you. So it's a little different than Birchas Kayan. Birchas Kayanim, it's a mitzvah on the Kayan to blow. It's a mitzvah on the Kayan to bench. If there's another minion. If he wants to. But it's a mitzvah, he makes a bracha. The Kayan in the Beis HaMikdash is mechuyev to sprinkle the blood. Here, I'm not mechuyev to blow shofar again. In fact, with mitzvah bracha, the reason I make a bracha is that Kol Yisrael Arevim Zebazeh. So if you didn't do the mitzvah, it's also a chiyuv on me. Right? Huh? Right. Ein chanami. Right. So, but even if you want to say that it's fart nish dezel bazach, mitzadin arvus kol yisrael arevim zebazeh. So the halacha in Shulchan Aruch is that if you didn't do the mitzvah, it's as though I didn't do the mitzvah. Yeah. So therefore, right, I can make a bracha because I didn't do the mitzvah. But you're fart going to say, at least for my mitzvah, I did the mitzvah. You want to say that? He says it's still a problem. Given the miskaven l'shem mitzvah oivim m'sham Baal Tosif. Here, it's not like the blood. They read the person as being miskaven l'shem. Why are you blowing shofar on Rosh Hashanah? Because you're bored. Because you need a place to sleep on Shmini Atzeres. You went to a sukkah. Because you want to do the mitzvah of Tkiyah Shofar.
And because you don't know, you have a safek.
That's the truest. But all the extra by Musaf. Mechavev is ha-mitzvah. Psahidu, you want more Tkiyah Shofar. Very dig gebeten. Huh? Leval b'las hasotin, fine, I understand all the milas. The kohen who's bois of a brach is also leval b'las hasotin. Whatever, he wants to do good things. So Tosif says, Kedemasa Kerava B'samach, we're going to see soon in Gemarah, that laver shaloi b'zmanei boy kavana. That to be over on Baal Tosif shaloi b'zmanei, you need kavana, and if you have kavana, then it's a Baal Tosif. Because that makes the shaloi b'zmanei into a Baal Tosif.
Doesn't make it to Zman.
Right, no. But it turns it into a Baal Tosif. You hear the word. If it's shaloi b'kavana and it's not zmanoi, it's nothing. Like eating chickpeas not by a shalom zachar. It's a garnish, it's fine. It's not zmanoi, no kavana. Yeah. If it's zmanoi, even without kavana. If it's shaloi b'zmanoi and you have kavana, it becomes a Baal Tosif. Because you are the one who's making it Baal Tosif through your kavana. So according to this, l'maskonas ha-Gemarah, the Tosif says we have a big problem with tkiyas. This guy is trying to do a mitzvah. Even if you want to say it's lav zmanai, because you already did tkiyah shofar. He fulfilled his mitzvah with 2 truths. But yesh loymar. So Tosif now tells us a word. The Perishas B'Perek Kama I already said in the first Perek. The lo shayach Baal Tosif ba'asiyas ha-mitzvah shtei pa'amim. Baal Tosif does not apply when you do a mitzvah twice. You don't change the meaning of the mitzvah, the tzura of the mitzvah. You do the same mitzvah repetitively. It's not Baal Tosif. Birchas koyanim nami. Afilu mevarchin kama pa'amim letzibur echad. Even if you would bless one sibur many times, the ein ze Baal Tosif elim kein moisif bracha achas. if he adds to the text a bracha of his own, he does 4 brachas instead of 3. For example, Yosef Hashem Aleichem Gochem Elef Ba'amin, or Kayotzeb, or something similar. V'chein, another example, Not a lulav kama pa'amin b'yoyim. You have OCD people, right? How many times they shake lulav? Ein mola, zweite mola, dritte mola. It's Bal Tosif? No. You know why? You did the same mitzvah. You didn't add, you didn't manipulate, you didn't decorate, you're not putting in a new min. You're shaking the same lulav. Klaps of chappenvang, you want to do it. Oichel Pesach kama zeisim shel matzah. How many kazeisim do we eat by the Seder? The Torah says, Be'erev toichlu matzahs. Toichlu is a kazayis. Who asked you to eat more? L'shem mitzvah. But we eat one kazayis, we eat a second kazayis. Later by that for we eat another kazayis. And some people, if your shir kazayis is a big shir kazayis, right? You may be eating lots and lots of kazayis, and I don't care.
Why can't he drink more cups of wine?
You could in the prescribed period.
During the meal, you can get drunk.
You could drink as much as you want.
Same like the matzah.
Huh?
Same like the matzah.
Same like the
Prescribed
matzah.
times, you can have as much as you want.
You want more? Goes on more. Goes on more.
It's tefillin in the shah. It's not tefillin at night.
Tefillin at night is a
You're
din.
gonna say it's not the mitzvah.
No, there's a din. Miyamim yamima. You don't put on tefillin at night. You don't put on tefillin Shabbos and Yom Tov.
Gott schläft.
Was?
Gott schläft.
Gott schläft nicht, aber die schlafst. So we mele, oi sheikh Pesach kam der eins about Tosif. Eins about Tosif. It's not about Tosif. Why? You're doing the same thing again and again and again. You're not being moisef to the mitzvah. You're repeating the mitzvah. There's a difference. You're not adding to the mitzvah or taking away from the mitzvah. You're repeating the same thing again and again. V'chol hanitonim b'matona achas. Fascinating. Im nosan kama bom b'makom echad eins about Tosif. Have a blood of a b'chor. You make one application, and you do it again and again and again and again. It's not Bal Tosif. You do another side of the Mizbeach, that's Bal Tosif. Same word. That's his chiddush here. Ain't Bal Tosif. Elim kei noisin b'makam acher, unless he places the blood somewhere else. Then he's over on Bal Tosif. Why? Because he's meshana. He's deviating from the prescribed law of how you sprinkle the blood. So Bal Tosif is not about repetition. It's about manipulation. Is that a proper description?
Yeah. But to make a bigger kazayas for kazayas is because it's not like you do.
Okay, so today, like in everything, there's a big argument what a kazayas is. So you want to be machner.
But if you know what it is, then you eat more.
You're right. You're right.
It is what it is.
You're right.
If you eat the more l'shem mitzvah.
Huh?
How's about
A shear is a minimum. Who says a shear is a maximum?
If you eat matzah and you eat a little bit more, it's okay.
But if somebody
Yes, he did.
Isn't a shear always the minimum?
Usually.
Yeah, so if he eats more.
What's his question? You ask, what's his question? Oichel Pesach kama zeisim,
No,
who
he's
cares?
saying, if he's saying the shear,
way too much, it's shears from the top.
I'm going to eat one kazayas, but I'm eating a huge kazayas.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, the rest of the milk.
Trumas and Meiseris. Ba'ayin Yafa, you can get Ba'ayin Yafa.
why is it not Tosif?
Why is it not about Tosif?
How many people were
It's the same like it's not the same like you
180
do lead a few times. You take the mitzvah.
I think
you
you want more
add
than how many
just
carrots
the
were?
No.
40.
You want to know if you give 11% of your grain to the Levi instead of 10%, it should be over on Bal Tosif.
Isn't there
Same idea.
minimum? It's not a maximum?
Because you're saying Meiser is a shear. Meiser is a shear. So if you give 11%, you should be over on Bal Tosif. You have to give mamash 10%.
But it's a shear for
2 times 10%. It's like you're shopping 2 times lila.
No, depends why you do it.
Again, then you're running up.
As a gift, it's bechal not a problem. You mean if you do it as mitzvahs Meiser. As a gift, I don't care. Give a Levi as
You think that's
You don't round
11%
up
or
your
because you just happen to give 11%?
I don't think you round down.
In other words, your mama trying to be moisav a mitzvahs Meiser, so you feel bad for the guy. So you want to give him extra stockach, man.
Well, you took an extra scoop and you put it in the bag.
You want to make sure you're not undercut.
Okay, so then it's bechal not a problem.
Again, but that's what we're talking about. So he knows that he's going to go over to make sure that he's not
Then it's
going
bechal not a problem. V'chein, right, another very interesting example. A lot of Yidden have a minhag to add to their hadassim. Right? 3 is 3, and then there's might be more. 36. People who put 36 Hadassah.
Chabad and also by Sfard.
Sfardim add a lot to the Hadassah.
Chabad,
Also adds. Sfardische Kehillas add. No, I know. So what about Tosif? So Tosif is a chem bahadas v'arovish belulav. Afilu noisen kama hadasim v'kama arovis belulav. Usually people don't add arovis, but there was some who added arovis also. Arovis also, you see. I don't care if you add hadasim, I don't care if you add arovis. Mitzad Bal Tosif, it's not a problem. If you decide to add another min, that's a real Bal Tosif.
No, but the Gavona has to be the mitzvah.
In other words, it's the same thing more and more, yeah? Ain't a Bal Tosif because he was not moisef in the mitzvah. Afilu l'man dama. Afilu l'man dama tzarech eged. Here's a big chiddush. We have a machlokes in Gemarah if lulav tzarech eged or lulav ain't tzarech eged. Even if you hold lulav tzarech eged, in other words, you have to bind together. You have to tie together all the 3 minim. Lulav hadas and arava, it needs eged. It's not stam. You have the lulav and you're holding the other minim. But lulav tzarech eged, it has to be ugly, it has to be tied together. Nonetheless, if you say this, you're adding l'choyre more hadasim. It's not bal tosif elim kain moisif min acher. Only if you add another min, but if you don't add another min, it's completely not a problem. Even if you hold lulav tzarech eged, if you hold lulav ain't tzarech eged, no, so you have in your hand other hadasim. But here tzarech eged, and you put it inside, and it becomes part of that unit. The fact that it's the same mitzvah, but you did more of it, just like when you did it many times. Here you're not doing it many times, but you're doing more of it. It's fine. No, you're adding to the hadasim themselves. However, according to this, we have a problem. The Lepiders, according to this, if so, you could say if you add strands to the tzitzis, or kama parshi is betfilin b'bayis echad, or you take one bias and instead of having the parsha of Shema, you have one time the parsha of Shema, the second time the parsha of Shema. Just like you add hadasim, you're not even about Tosif. So you say, I like these tzitzis, so you add more of tzitzis, more. Not that you're making a 5th strand of tzitzis, but in the tzitzis, you add more chut into tzitzis. That's his kasha. Huh?
In the same place.
You're moisef on shmoyna chutin. You have 8 chutin b'tzitzis, and you want to be moisef on it, like more hadasim.
4 strings.
You have 4 strings and you double it.
The same hole. The same place.
Same hole. You want more. You want more hadas. You want more rovers. You say the parashas of film. You put another parsha.
That's more like another.
Not another parsha from Torah. The same shema. You put in another one. A double. What do I have to have? One shema. I'll have 2 shmas. One kaddish, 2 kaddishes, 3 v'hoya kiviyachas, 3 v'hoyam shemaya. You have 4 parshas, right? Shema v'hoyam shemaya, etc. Kaddish v'hoya kiviyachas. So you put a few of them. Like your lulav tzarech eged, it's 1 unit here. It's also 1 unit. And Taki, you added more.
Who says it's a problem?
It's fine to say so many conversions.
So the Tosif says it's a tema. It's a tema. I'll soon tell you the Rosh's answer on this, but u'misuka ein lo haviraya kan. From a sukkah, you can't bring a raya. But if you're moisef on the minyan, you're not about Tosif. From what? Masha'ein over ba'asa dalad mechitzas. If a person makes 4 walls for a sukkah, is the over about the aval gavdamrin and shtayim kilchas and shlishas afilu tefa. The Gemarah says in Masechta Sukkah, you make 2 walls, and the 3rd wall could be a tefach. So that means you add to the mitzvah, not Bal Tosif. So l'chayr, to bring a great raya from Sukkah, you can add to the hadasim, just like you can add to the walls of the Sukkah. He says it's not a raya. The kol sheken kasha oisa dalad mechitzas tvei adam. When the Torah says, is matter, we learn out from the Torah, you can have 2 walls and a tefach, it means minimum. But for sure it's better if you have 4 walls. Why? The have a teishvu kain taduru. The point of Sukkot is it says b'Sukkos teishvu shivasem. The Gemara learns out teishvu is kain taduru. It should substitute your home. Now I ask you a question. When you have a home that has 2 walls, it's a home. The the more walls you have, the more home it is. So when you have a 4-walled sukkah, it's more teishul kein tadura. So shtayim kilchasan is minimum, not maximum. So you can't bring a raya from 4 mechitzas in a sukkah that you can be moisef hadasim or you can be moisef chutim and tzitzis, because it's a whole different word over there. Over there, fakert, that is the real sukkah. Even if you do shtayim kilchasan, you're yoytz of the mitzvah. You're yoytz of l'chatchila, not b'diavad, but you're yoytz of the mitzvah. But here, you're not going to tell me that what makes the lulav is a better lulav if it has more hadasim. It's a better tzitzis if it has more chutim. It's a hisafa to it. So Tosif wants to know taka. Why by tefillin and by tzitzis we don't say you add parshias or you add chutim? So the Tosif Rosh writes that there's a difference. The reason is because it says ukshartem la'oisal yadecha v'hayu l'toitafos beineinech. Zok Rashi, what's l'toitafos from the Chazal? It's words from different languages, right? Tat bekasvi, pas ba'afriki. In Africano, pas is 2. In Kasvi, tat is 2. Toitafos, tat, pas is 4. 4 parshias. You decided you're going to do 2, even if it's a copy. It's Shema. That's against the posuk. Therefore, it's about Tosif. By tzitzis, the Tosif Rosh says over here doesn't have a number, but he says the number of tzitzis was accepted by tradition connected to Taryag mitzvahs, because tzitzis, Chazal say tzitzis is the gematria of what? 600, right? Tov reish. And then you have 8 strands, 8 chutin, and 5 knots. So 8 and 5 is 13. So you have Tov reish Gimel 613. So therefore, to add more chutin is not unacceptable because it undermines that element of tzitzis. And tefillin even worse because it says taitafas.
That's the reason tatfas?
Yeah, tatfa. What does taitafas mean?
Because 2 languages, and what if in China fast means 7?
Now you're asking a good question. How does Africano make its way into the Bible? That's a good shot. So that's what we learned before. That's what we learned before. No worries. It's fine. So there's a few explanations in it. One of them is a very interesting explanation. And that is that originally, the Shalah explains, No, it's not. It's a very beautiful word. Originally, there was only one language. Lashon Kodesh was the universal language. And then it got dispersed into many languages. And words of Lashon Kodesh ended up in all languages, in many languages.
But in Hebrew, tatfas is not.
You're right. So there are some words of Lashon Kodesh that we take back from other languages because that's where they are.
They were lost.
In other words, we have treasures in every language. We have words in every language.
When it was written, the Tosif was not.
Yeah, it was already after the Der HaFlaga. So tat pas are from Lashon Kodesh, the words that went in and became Africano vernacular. So we're just taking it back.
Rabbi will tell you a book is 30,000. What is it, 30,000?
He sent out the link. It's an exception. It's a very, very powerful idea, very interesting idea. And the Gemarah earlier in Rosh Hashanah goes through this whole sugya about 12, 13 words that they learned from different cultures and countries. And that's how they explain the Meyaksita, etc.
You're saying the Tad really is that in Lashon Kodesh?
Yeah, that's one shitta. There's another shitta that it's actually Torah use that it's not originally Lashon Kodesh. It's not the pshat, it's original Lashon Kodesh and it fell in there. But rather Torah is actually using those words especially to elevate the 70 lashonos. In Mefarshim there's different perspectives. That's what we type. Rashi says this. It's Pshuta Shel Mikra. Tat pas. Tat pas. So maybe if it's 4 and it's 4 parshias, so you can add 5 even if it's a repeat. Because it's 4, why are you putting in a 5th piece of parchment and you'd fill in Sharash when it says Taitafas? That's how the Tosif Rosh answers the question of Tosif, the distinction between Hadassim and Aravas to Tefillin and Tzitzis.
According to this one, why two etrogim is Val Tosif?
Why can't we have 2 esrogim or 2 lulavim?
With the same svar.
Same thing. You add a hados, you should add a lulav.
Who says we can't? Who says you can't? The people have a million.
The Mishnah said you can't.
The truth is that but to use the Raiva Taka holds you're not, but the Rambam holds you not allowed. There's a machlokes Rambam and Raiva, the Hilchas Lulav. The Rambam holds you over if you take another Lulav. Baltoisif, the Raiva holds not. The Raiva holds not. The Raiva holds you can take another Esrog. You can take another Lulav. L'cha'ira from Tosif, it would be mashma like the Raiva. You wouldn't be over. Why? Because you're doing. You're adding to the same mitzvah.
It's the same.
Just like you repeat the mitzvah, it's not a problem.
It's a minacha. It doesn't say about the lulav. It doesn't say about the. That's even a
Putting on two of the same tefillin b'basachas. What about putting on two tefillin b'basachas? Huh?
If they both identical to him, then we have a problem.
If identical, it's Bal Tosif. You don't do it.
They do Rashi Ben because
one is puzzle, one is kosher. If it's Rashi Ben Tam, there's people who put on Rashi Ben Tam with basachas, right? By you, they did it. Svardim, yeah.
I remember Rav Kaduri.
Because that's been man of shech. One is not kosher, but to take two of the same tefillin and put it on the basachas, that's also a problem.
In the Torah, does it say arba minim or just says the minim?
The mini ones.
L'kachtem lechem pri each other kapist one manafet savas arvin.
Real small times again.
So to add another min, that's a real baltais. So this explains why tkiyah shofar. You take a shofar, you blow and blow and blow and blow, as long as you're not being moisef to the mitzvah. You're blowing your same tkiyahs through as shvarim triyas. I don't care how many kailas you blow, because blazin and blazin fakert. It's chiv of a mitzvah. It shows that you love the mitzvah.
If you blow shloi b'zmanoi l'shem mitzvah, then it's also not baltoisif.
Oh, shaloi b'zmanoi. That's the question. There's a baltoisif. If you say shaloi b'zmanoi, there's a baltoisif with kavanah. Would that could be a problem?
Just curious.
If a day after Rosh Hashanah, I take my shofar and I blow with shem tkiyah shofar because I want to continue my Rosh Hashanah, then it's an issue. Which brings us to the general issue of Yom Tov Sheni Shel Goliath. The Chazal said you should make a second day Yom Tov. That's not repeating the same mitzvah twice. It's not shaking the lulav twice. It's adding a day. Hashem says Pesach is 1 day, is 7 days, you said it's 8. Rosh Hashanah is 1 day, you made it 2. Sukkot is 8 days, you made it 9. Should be a real Baal Tosif. Oh.
Again.
So the problem is it was a suffix. It was a suffix. They didn't know when Yom Tov is.
So one of them is good, one of them is not good. It's not shot that they're both good in this place. One of them you didn't do anything.
Right, but the problem is today we already know, and we still have a second day.
That's because we're afraid.
So Mindig was saying to be a L'chayre, you can argue that our second day Yom Tov is an Indian of Bal Tosif because we know the calendar.
I argue, but it's the same like I say no.
Same like you just said.
The Reform took out Yom Tov Sheni because Bal Tosif.
Same
They know about it?
I'm just joking. He didn't do it because Bal
They didn't need
Tosif.
a reason.
They never heard about it.
Check out Yom
A limit schus. He said Bal Tosif. This is a real Bal Tosif. What are you adding a second day? Today I'm saying when we know.
Same thing about two tefillins. If one is not good, then it's not good.
You're right. That's Mitzad Yom Tov Sheni Shel Goliath when they really had a suffix. They just didn't know when Rosh Hashanah is. They didn't know when Pesach is. You want to do Mekayim the Mitzvah of Matzah, fakert.
So who continued this?
Chazal. It's a Gemarah and Beitza. They sent a message. Hizaru minig avesayim u'biyadenu.
Just curious, the whole thing is built on Kohen with the brachas.
That's a brayso. It says clearly.
It's a deraisa.
Brichas Koyanim, sure.
Three psika.
Parshas Nosai,
It
Avada.
says only the three.
Vaydaber Hashem al Moshe daber el Aaron kois avaruchu es bnei Yisrael amor lahem yivarechecha Hashem yoyer Hashem yisa Hashem v'samar bezlam ani avarachem. Parshas Nosai, Parshas Nosai. You don't say it in the morning?
I do, but I think it's from the Kiddush.
Where do you think it's from?
Same like Maktovi is from.
Tov is also from.
It's
I love not.
the first song.
3 things they don't have a shir, right? 3 things they don't have a shir is in the morning.
What?
Players, Korim and Orion. Have children. That's what they say about it.
The answer of Pashtus is, the Rambam asks a question. The Rambam says, all mitzvahs derabbanan should be Bal Tosif. Besides not being moisef to a mitzvah, you're also not allowed to be moisef mitzvahs. Let's say we come up and we say there's 613 mitzvahs, we're making 614 mitzvahs. That's also one issue. So how could the Rabbanan add to a mitzvah? The answer is not add to a mitzvah, how can they make a new mitzvah? Whether Netilas Yadayim, or Eruv Chatzeris, or Eruv Tavshilim, right? Or Halal on Yom Tov, or Neiris Chanukah, or Mikra Megillah, or Shalach Manas, with brachas and everything. The answer is they say this is a mitzvah derabbanan. It's not a mitzvah min ha-Torah. The Torah gave a koyach to the Sanhedrin to make Zaydas, Shvusim, right, Isurim, Harchakas, and also to be Mesaken, Takanas, Minhagim, and Mitzvahs derabbanan. That's part of the formula. But it's said clearly we're not moisiv to the Taryag Mitzvahs ha-Torah. No such a thing. Lo Yisaysifu. The Vilna Gaon writes, Adaris Eliyahu, that there's two psukim about Lo Yisaysiv. One in V'eschana, one in Re'eh. One says Lo Yisaysiv, one says Lo Yisaysifu. It says one is a mitzvah on the individual Jew not to add another min to the lulav, not to add tzitzis.
What's the sword about this mitzvah?
Lo Yisaysiv. Fakert, it says Lo Yisaysiv before Lo Yisigra. What's the sword of Lo Yisigra? Hainu hach, same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah, what's the sword of Lo Yisigra? Exactly. Lo Yisaysiv says every time before Lo Yisigra. Should have been the opposite, right? But the answer is, the moment is going to be Yisaysiv, it'll be Sigra. And in a way, it's worse than Sigra. Kol ha-Moisiv Gereya. Because when you're Moisiv, you feel holier. But the moment a person is manipulating the mitzvah, in other words, it's not anymore what it says. It's, I'm going to add my own thing. So you know what? In a year from now, I add it, I'll also take off. Because it's based on my taste, on my sensibilities today. You say what I'm saying? I'll be moisif. Today I want to be more from. Next year I'll be in a different mood. So it's the other way around. Fakert Lo Yisaysiv says before Lo Yisigra, because there's a chashash in Lo Yisaysiv. Lo Yisigra you can't justify. Lo Yisigra you're lazy. Lo Yisaysiv you're holy. So in a way it's more lethal. It's more dangerous. You get what I'm saying? So once it says Lo Yisaysiv, once it says Lo Yisaysifu. So the Vilna Gaon writes in Adaris Eliyahu, one is a mitzvah on the individual Jew, he shouldn't add. And one is on Bezdin, they shouldn't come up with a new element in religion. A new mitzvah. They're not allowed to do that. Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius is l'chatchila din d'Rabbanan. They made a second day, mitzad minig aviseinu b'yadeinu, as a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. It's not a mitzvah d'Oraisa, it's a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. They said to say the same brachas and everything. Say again Shechiyanu, eat matzah again, blow shofar again. Also din, so it's not a gedder of Bal Tosif. The Torah says, Al pi ha-Torah asher yorucha, lo yisasu l'cha min hadavar shegid l'cha yom and smile. So it's l'chayra not an inyan of Bal Tosif. Sukkah, they didn't make Shmini Atzeres. Shmini Atzeres is the question about Sukkah. Right? Simchas Torah, the fact that you have a Yom Tov. If a person would make a second day Pesach and have Kavana, that this is a Hisafa to the Torah Dika first day of Pesach, that's Bal Tosif. It's not, it's Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius. If a person comes to Eretz Yisrael and says, I'm making a second day Pesach, it says there's 1 day Pesach, what are you making me a second day? I mean the 7 days, what are you making 8 days? That's a Bal Tosif. No, he pushed it out of Safek. Again, he had his real Sveika D'Yoyma.
That was from real Safek.
Right, because of the Chazanish and everything.
So if someone goes to Israel, what's that they do? Because of, I mean, over there is no.
Okay,
over there is no minute though.
Fine, that has to do with.
Copy yourself again, not I mean, in Galus and Hanami. Not in Galus, there is no Sheni.
Okay, so that has to do with you consider a ben chutzlar, it's a ben Eretz Yisrael. If you come here from Eretz Yisrael, you're still a ben Eretz Yisrael. What? In Akko. The Rambam already says that any place where the shluchim didn't come, you do 2 days. Even places outside of Eretz Yisrael that were close enough, but shluchim didn't come there because let's say there were no Jews. So over there, if you would have lived,
you would have had 2 days.
Didn't he have a fixed calendar already?
The fixed calendar was only in the 4th century after the Common Era.
That's when Hillel.
If a person asks something and says it's an Ism in HaTorah when it's not an Ism in HaTorah, it's Bal Tosif. If a person says, I want to be machmir on myself, I'm making a fence, fine. I don't know what that means. I don't know how somebody can speak like that. A responsible person, a responsible Rebbe, Dayan, or Shiva Manik, is very careful with his words. Before he calls somebody an apikoides, before he says something is avodah zarah, he thinks about it again and again and again. These words are serious words. To call somebody a kaifer, the Rambam gives gedarim what's a kaifer, what's a min. If somebody eats gebrachas on Pesach, he's not an apikoides, right? Huh? It's not Bal Tosif to eat gebrachas.
No, it's about places not to eat gebrachas.
It's a chumrah based on achshash.
Well,
Some people accepted it, some people, fine. I mean, what's the whole kidneys? Why don't you ask about kidneys? We don't eat rice on Pesach. It's not Bal Tosif. In Ashkenaz, there were confusions between with the rice paddies, the rice fields and the grain fields were near each other. He's gonna get excited. They got mixed up constantly.
Because they didn't have corn. They weren't
And that was it. Okay, but Bal Tosif is a different Indian. Bal Tosif means you're moisiv to the mitzvah of Torah.
Now it's quinoa is the new victim.
Yes. Regular. And Sunday I'll let you know. Shabbos, yeah.
And right now that we know that it's not growing together.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes to both of those cancel.
Okay.
Right now it's not growing together. Why can't we be, Michael? Why stay with the chumras?
Kidneys.
We stay with the chumras. We add. All of a sudden we find ourselves like it's not coming.
Like what else? Huh? What's the chumrah with an Erev? That what? That what?
Because they hold it's not an Erev. That's the reason.
So there is a big halachic debate about certain places with an Erev because they're complicated places. They have in Crown Heights also a huge debate about it. These are genuine halachic debates between poskim. If an Erev works in certain places, an Erev is a very complicated entity. It's not simple to make an Erev. You're basically turning in the place to a Rishus HaYachid. It's like 4 walls, but without 4 walls, right? So you need to use different components. So if you do it in your alleyway or in your bungalow colony, it's not a problem. You build walls around your bungalow colony, you build a native around the hotel, and you're good to go. When you have places like Manhattan, places like Brooklyn, it just gets very complicated. So there are genuine halachic debates. This is how Torah works. It's not a problem. There's debates, there's this shitta, there's that shitta. It's first of all, it's an excellent question.
First year
How old were you?
First year,
So you never ever asked a question again, right? The Hest?
What was that? 3rd grade, yeah. Which question did you ask?
A very good question. It's actually a good question. So get the kasha.
It took me till boy to ask a question.
To take the courage. Did you tell your father what happened when you came home? Of course not. He would have slapped you for asking the question.
Wait till they grow up.
Oh, we need to talk about this now.
Of course, every day you have to talk about it.
It's a therapy session.
Till you cleanse it, till you cleanse your system, you have to talk about it. Very important to talk about it. That's why whenever I say that you have to use your mind, he looks at me like I'm a heretic. Right? It's contrary to the whole Yiddishkeit you grew up with. And the truth is the exact opposite. The essence of Judaism thrives on intellectual creativity, on maximizing your koiches, your kishroinus, your mind and your heart. Judaism sees it as a great crime not to use your mind to the fullest, to flex its muscles, to work it out.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.